just a poor wayfaring stranger traveling through this world of woe, and there's no sickness, no toil, no danger in that bright land to which I'll go. Well, I'm going there to see my father. Well, I'm going there, no more to roam. I'm only going over hillside. I'm only going dark clouds will gather round me. I know my way is rough and steep, but golden fields lie just before me, where those who lay shall ever sleep. Well, I'm going there to see my mother and all my loved ones who moved on. I'm only going over hillside. I'm only going
Hello everyone, welcome back to Overgrown. Could be episode 3. I had it as episode 3 on multiple places because I forgot to change it. It's episode 4, yeah. Hello and welcome. It's lovely to have you back. And I have started without my hat on, A, because it is hot here, and B, because I want to dispel any rumours that the channel has been taken over by a different person. I am still the same person. I look different, I know. But chat, you need to calm down. Anyway. Literally, I posted up my new hair and beard and everything, and immediately in the Discord, people were like, it's a different person, channel's been taken over, Disney's bought it, it's over. No, same person. So, having said that, hello and welcome to the Wandering Inn. It's still me. I am still running the Wandering Inn. We have the patron. The patron has officially hit the 2-show cosplay threshold. I am waiting to see how it goes, because obviously there's also a possibility people want to cancel their pledges, stuff like that. I don't want to start 2 shows a week and then have to start paying out of my arse for it. So we are starting recordings. There are shows in the works. Some of them are, as soon as I said some of them, I was like, some of them are really good, which implies some of them aren't. No, they're all great. So thank you very much, everyone who's a patron, and anyone who's considering becoming one. Yeah, essentially, the more people who pledge, even if it's just like $3 or whatever, A, it's cheaper than a Twitch sub, and more money goes to me than if you were to get a Twitch sub, which you can't anyway, because... but all of that really helps. It all goes towards paying the cost, and any extra left over, of which currently there isn't going to be much once the second show starts, but all of that goes into production, overlays, intro videos, things like that. Also, if you watched the last episode, you'll have seen the outro video, which was really, really good.
If you want to know how easy it is to sign up on Patreon, I've done it literally while Sheepa was talking.
Why would you do that?
It's that quick.
Is that fast?
Safi, you're partially paying your own wages.
I mean, I am self-employed, mate.
That's true. But yes, with that said, you can become a patron. If you want to support and you don't want to have a monthly thing, because not everyone likes the monthly things, you can drop down a super chat. As much as you like, it'll pop up. There's a super chat right now. For God's sake, I'm so tempted not to answer that super chat at the end of the show. You asshole.
You answer all of the super chats because every member of this community is important.
I'm just saying.
And also,
I'm tempted not to.
Whether you're biased or not to whatever they type.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm going to say is all you have to do is just say something that only the real sheepy would know. And then that will prove everything. And I'm surely you would have no problem in doing that, right? Real sheepy?
Yeah.
Actual sheepy?
Yeah.
Real non-conspiracy that you've been replaced with a
Person with
non-sheepy
nice hair.
sheepy?
You see, I've been saying for a long time, like, I am the real sheepdog. I've been the real sheepdog. And ain't no one in the world can say I ain't the real sheepdog, because, I mean, I'm just a regular British lad from way in South Downton, that kind of place out there. So, I mean, that's all I gotta say about it. Anyway,
We're all just like, and we don't know the yes and for that moment.
No.
No, my yes and was I was going to ask him what his favorite I was torn between either going with his favorite picante sauce or what his favorite brand of tea is, because if he's really not the actual British sheepy, he'd probably say Lipton's or something. American tea.
I really love that Duke Grey tea. It's by far the best.
What? I knew it. Not the real sheepy.
Yeah.
Now that we're fully off the rails.
Yes, fully off the rails. But yes, you can drop down a super chat and I will answer them, is the short answer to that question. And past that, I am thinking about setting up something. I still haven't decided on what. Some people have said to be Ko-fi, some people have said other things. Just a place you can do, because some people don't want to give money to YouTube either. That's perfectly fine. We all have massive conglomerates we don't want to give money to.
But not streamers and incredible people who make content, not the content creators.
Yes. So, with all of that said, I'm sure there was more. Oh, there's always more. There's a website, there's Discord, there's Twitter. Sometimes I even remember to tweet that we're going live before we go live. I didn't this time, but sometimes I do.
With the correct episode number.
Yeah, I tweeted out the wrong episode. Until 2 hours ago, the show was starting at 5 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. and it was episode 3. So I'm very clearly have it all together.
I would have not been ready had it been 2 hours early.
Yeah, no. Someone pointed it out in the chat, and I quickly went and changed it and said, "What do you mean? It's always been like this."
Yeah.
I always get it right the first time. Much like my intros, we don't have a patron crafted intro currently.
And this is why things go off the rails.
This is why, yeah. But there is actually at this point a video on the extras channel. There is an extras channel. I will include it in the descriptions and stuff. It's not one you necessarily need to go and see. Essentially, I was planning on doing a bit of extra content on the extras channel, and something dropped in my lap, which was the 44 Rules GM Reddit post that went viral. someone posted a video to me of someone covering it. I didn't really like the video, so I basically did a 2-hour conversation about why I didn't like the take on the video. It's a whole thing. But if you want to go look at it, Wandering in Extras is the channel. I'll start posting it once the content starts coming out. And aside from that, if you are a patron, I've had a few content requests coming in from patrons. I did a tier list of Has-Been Hotel songs. I don't know why anyone would want to see that, because I haven't seen Has-Been Hotel, and, you know, my takes were... They were what they were. I believe next I am ranking all of the Has-Been Hotel episodes and Shrek films. And Taylor Swift songs and Beyonce songs. I believe the request was submitted by a I Hate Safi Pie was the username. That's a joke. It's just like all the stuff that Safi would hate for me to actually like look at and review.
Wait. I remember from 2 weeks ago that the person who hated Beyonce and Taylor Swift and who wanted to bring the wrath of all the Swifties of the Bayhive was not Safi, but you, unless you aren't the real sheepy and don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago.
So if we get a good review, basically, of Taylor Swift or Bay, we know you're not the real sheepy.
Well, when someone said to me, like, the Beehive are gonna come after you, I was like, wait, that supervillain organization in Teen Titans? I didn't realize that the Beehive was referencing Beyonce, so...
I think it's the Bayhive.
Oh, it's the Bayhive?
It might be the Beehive, but also Rihanna has a navy, so just, you have to watch out for that too.
Okay. I would have thought, for some reason, Swift, like, implies Air Force to me.
Like Swift Justice.
Oh, I was thinking Gulliver's Travels, so like maybe Taylor Swift would have like a whole bunch of Lilliputians, like so like all the Taylor Swift fans would be Lilliputians. No?
And if you're not the real sheepy, who are you? Are you David Grohl with your takes on Taylor Swift?
Does David Grohl have like he doesn't like Taylor Swift? I'm guessing.
It's a whole other thing.
Okay.
Anyone who's paying attention
anyway, back on
the
rails.
Back on track.
Back on track.
Yeah. So someone needs to keep me on track.
Don't even let me talk. What's happening here?
Go check out the Discord if you want to keep up to date. Go check out the Twitter if you want to keep up to date with the live shows and the recorded stuff. As I said, there is more coming. I will save my conversation about merch for the end, because I just saw the other super chat that just came in. We'll talk about that soon. All that is else to say is, in terms of these wonderful people and the things they are doing, we'll obviously do a regular outro at the end of the show, but I do believe there are plans for a couple. I know, Ellie, you're working up towards a TTRPG, I think.
I am.
And I know, Trooper, you just finished your...
Just started a new one. We've got stuff going on. It's just sort of a 3-shot. And then I'll be doing a 1980s... there's an RPG from the 1980s I was always obsessed with in 1984, but didn't have the money to buy, called The Sandman, and no one knew it existed because it was a huge, massive flop. And I'm running through that, and it's amazing. It's like a very story-driven game from like 1984. Very cool. And yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff, bunches of stuff, including running Jane Austen, the Good Society of the Jane Austen RPG over on Laughable of Lindy's channel. But that's for later. That's not interesting. I mean,
Yeah. We couldn't talk about it properly. I just, seeing as that it's like TTRPG stuff specifically, I was like, let's just... I assume, Safi and Jen, you don't have any current TTRPG projects in the works?
Right here. I'm obsessed with this right now. So this, okay? So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Well, you assumed wrong, because I was in a different show yesterday.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Can't believe you're cheating on me, okay.
I didn't know you had an exclusivity clause with Safi.
No, it's always implied. Every time you're on my show, it's implied that you're only allowed to be on my show.
I'm doing great then.
Oh god, I'm getting flashbacks.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Eat the Reich module on Lost Caravan RPG.
Okay.
We're doing a 2-shot. So first episode was yesterday. Next episode is next Sunday. It's a lot of fun.
So go check it out.
I love it.
Fancy.
And yeah, if you want to know more about any of these little mentioned TTRPG stuff projects, then go and bug them on their own channels, or ask them at the end. Or super chat. You know what? Super chat and ask them about it. That'll mean they have to answer it.
Wait, is that how super chats work? That we have to answer the question? Like, there's no choice?
I mean, so here's the thing, right? Is there's a get out of jail free card. If someone says like, Ellie, tell me exactly the entire plot of your show, or your the stuff you're planning, you can say no. That's still answering the super chat. So.
I know. I think that's the perfect opportunity to just answer, but accuracy is not necessarily guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
all.
like, so there's a giant elephant.
You don't get me wrong. You have to answer, but you don't have to tell the truth. You just have to answer the question.
You address it, just not necessarily accurately.
An elephant, right?
I know.
So, huh? Okay, branding.
I think
Elephants.
I think we actually missed out a beat on this show. Like, Ellie, why did you choose an owl when you could have been an elephant?
And why did I choose this tiny little when I could have been a giant elephant stomping over everything? I could have just kicked open the dam. I could have just done everything.
Yeah.
Our gaming. We would just rampage through everything.
Yeah. I'd be like,
We're just all
so
holding on.
there are 5 more episodes, right?
So, with all of that in mind, I feel like now would be a good time to run a little recap of what happened last week and then get back into where we was.
Indeed.
And where we was we were at the point where the dam was being flooded, the area, all the houses were being flooded as our lovely, wonderful entourage turned up. And very quickly, with the chief, oh goddamn, I just shouldn't name some of these people. It always gives me, I think his name was Barkram. Not going to be in my notes. Sorry, it's in my notes here somewhere. I've got to have way too many notes to find this guy's name. But yes, the otter chief of the dam ran up and asked for assistance, and the group obliged with Junior and Dash dashing off to save a trapped mouse who was on top of one of the buildings as the water's rushing through, and Gwynny and Nay going in the direction of the dam itself to see if they can open the gates, let the water out. Essentially, something was wrong with the mechanism. It seemed to be stuck or something. They couldn't open it, and the storm swelled up the river and caused it to flood. On the pathway of doing these things, we saw a little insight into the past of Dash, Nay, and Gwynny in their years adventuring with Junior's mother, Juniper. We saw Dash and Juniper have a little race across the river. One of them fell in, I won't say who. One of them was saved, I won't say who. One of them got waterlogged, very embarrassingly choked on a lot of water, and fell on the grass, almost dying multiple times. I won't say who. Could be anyone. We had another flashback to Gwynny in the library, researching, looking at different technologies and maps and all of these type of things. Juniper coming in, going crazy about some wandering willows up north, and both of them talking about how they wanted to build a tree house in one of these wandering willows, which was just not something I had thought of, but the second it was mentioned, I was like, hell yeah, like, I really hope that happened, and maybe we'll find out if it does. Finally, we had a interesting parallel scene of Ney in current day, watching everyone have fun and feast and everything, and in past, where he went to be by himself, had a little bit of a heart-to-heart when Juniper crowbarred her way into the solitude, and all of this happened as they were fixing the problems at the dam. They managed collectively to save the mouse, to chip away at the problems of the mechanism of the gears to turn the dam, and managed to open up the gates. The water the water rushed through and stopped flooding. They were thanked, they were given a place to stay, and they carried on their journey. They headed down towards Dennington, a site of the old Badger Kingdom capital. Obviously not really wanting to stop and to delve into the catacombs of this like massive hill filled with holes and tunnels and whatnot. They tried to push forward towards the breach, but it was a bit too precarious. The nature essentially being a bit wild, a bit filled with earthblood, and as they pushed a little bit into it, some of the vines and some of the trees started to move. And they went, you know what, this will take way too long, let's go around. And so they headed down towards the cherry orchard. And that is the point, essentially, where we left off, as they found themselves surrounded by trees on a path. The trees were much more orange, they were much more yellow, vibes of autumn, and the leaves continually falling. They also managed to stop by the cherry ring, which is a ring of cherry trees that are in eternal molt, essentially blooming and dropping cherry blossom leaves, cherry blossom petals. And that is where we left with this very song, conveniently. We left off with all of them standing in the middle of the cherry ring, with petals dropping all around them. Which, having said so, I imagine... I'm just looking at all of the characters quickly, wondering whether anyone's going to like break the mood, but I feel like if anyone was, it would probably be Junior, just because, you know, young whippersnappers don't appreciate true beauty or anything like that. But I don't know. I'll leave it open with all of you kind of a little bit quiet and standing in this cherry ring as the blossoms fall around you. Okay.
Is this it?
Well,
What do you mean? Is this it?
I mean, it's quite spectacular, don't get me wrong, but it's quite monotonous. It just continues. Do they do anything different?
That's sort of like how life is, though. You know, it just continues on like this, but it's beautiful. You know.
That's why we need
wanted to,
adventure. Otherwise, life would just be this.
But sometimes just this is nice. Sometimes we need just this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Junior, you'll feel differently about this once you first fall in love.
What?
Nay, isn't that right?
Yeah. You know, what he said. What he said. Yeah.
One day, you'll find a sparrow or a badger or, I don't know, something or other, and you'll think, that creature's the most heavenly creature I've ever seen in my entire life. And then you're going to want to bring them here.
If I love someone, why would I bring them here? It's boring.
It's not boring when you're with the person that you love.
You'll figure out one day. Last time we went through here as a group, all of us, we didn't go this way, we went the other way, and never got to go and... But there are people I would have liked to have taken here one day.
And at this point in time, I kind of nuzzle up a little bit next to Gwenny, but still kind of just keeping quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say love is something that I aspire to have? I would feel the need for it. I'm adventure. Granted, I'm witty and charming and all that, but I just don't. I just don't see it.
Well, love comes in many different forms. There's the love you have also for your friends and your family. I mean, for example, I love Nay. Just a whole lot. It's true.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being...
Does he know that?
Does Nay know that I love him? Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that hair. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about adventure. You do it with other people. And then you have a whole lifetime of memories. I mean, when I look at Gwenny, and I look at Nay, I'm going to think about this moment here in the middle of these amazing blossoms. And I think about that for years. And I'm going to think about, in this moment, that beautiful, wonderful thing that happened, where Gwenny and I impressed you, Junior, and Nay with our amazing spinny dancing. You haven't seen it yet because it's going to start, about 4 seconds. Shall we?
Oh, you know I can never say no.
Come on. Drop your moves. Come on.
So, is it only Dash who dances, or is it all three of you?
Oh, Gwenny's definitely in there. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it's Gwenny's like the one friend that you are like, okay, I want to do this thing, and she's like, okay, I've already got this plan. Here we go. This is how. And so the minute that Dash pretty much, I think, knows this from our friendship of like, the minute that Dash suggests anything, Gwenny is 100% the first person in. Always.
So, I now see a scene with Dash in the center of these cherry blossom ring trees, twirling on one foot paw, with the other leg like up in the air, the ears like directly skywards, with Gwenny on top of his head, with her wings up and like one kind of claw foot up too. Not spinning, but spinning with Dash, because Dash is spinning. And then Junior with this, like, kind of look. and probably Nay, unless he joins in, which is perfectly fine, Nay, if you do want to join in.
Nair's like, absolutely.
I'm more cheering everyone on. Is
Yeah.
What's going on.
Yeah.
I'm
Supportive.
excited for everyone.
Supportive,
Yeah.
but separate. Not included in the spinning.
Exactly.
But yeah,
I will note, I do have a secret agenda. because I imagine that Junior's going to stop paying attention to us in our amazing dancing.
Yeah.
Which does mean as we spin around and dash about, we can just maybe gather up some of these cherry tree petals until we have a lot of them. And then when we're behind Junior, as part, just incidentally as part of our dancing, we may dump a whole bunch of cherry tree petals on top of Junior.
Oh,
Is
okay.
a thing that
Okay.
might act. It's just, you know, when you're dancing in a circle, you
Yeah.
just whip up cherry. Yeah, and sometimes
And
you
there
whip them
might
up. Yeah.
be like a little bit of wing beating to like as they fall, like floofing everywhere as well
Yeah.
to like make an even bigger
Yeah.
like you're covered, but also here's like a spiral of them and like they kind of just never stop falling.
And then
And yes, you get petal dumped, which is, I think that's the first time I've said that in my life.
On
not
stream.
once, but twice.
On stream.
Because then, obviously, you feel it's only Dash and Gwenny doing this, but this entire time, you know, with my big old arms and everything in the air, I've been collecting a lot of them. And
Ah.
Junior had just gotten done just dumping them all off. And here comes just a big old arm pile of them.
So what essentially happens is Junior disappears under a massive pile of petals that have been slowly gathered. Like, you were paying such attention to the two jesters, you didn't notice the sneak attack from behind.
Sneak attack.
And the petals like kind of bust out from the top like a volcano as Junior kind of kicks up and, you know. Yeah.
Very funny. I hope you found that incredibly amusing.
Mm.
You seem to enjoy it. I saw that smile. Oh, now that's just a purposeful frown. And we all know it's hiding a smile. You can't lie to us.
Also, you can turn your frown upside down. Mhm.
It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
Believe me, I know.
It's why Nay has got such a strong jaw and face. It's just it's early.
A lot of back and forth. A lot of frowning. A lot of smiling. A lot of frowning. A lot of smiling.
I'm not sure how much you can tell the difference between the frowning and the smiling. You know, like, it may actually be scarier when Nay is smiling because the teeth are exposed, and you know, there's no real expression of like happiness on the smile. It's still frowning on the eyes and everything. It's just the teeth are exposed. So.
I mean, we know the difference.
Yeah.
Come on, Junior. Hey, Quinny.
Yes, Dash?
So, if you when you were quite young, you know, let's pick a random age, like Junior's age, just coincidentally.
Okay.
All right. So, back when you were that age,
Mm-hmm.
I know that you were interested in adventure and all of that.
Still am.
But when you still are, and when you thought about adventure, what was the first thing you thought about?
Friends.
Yeah, me as well. Because the
And
thing
shiny
about
things.
adventuring is, oh yeah, well, shiny things are great. Also carrots, those are great. Get good carrots on an adventure. All right, Junior, watch this. All right, this is a bit of an instruction. Wendy, do you remember when we were Junior's age and we were trying to go, you and I were walking about and we were trying to find a present for Nay, but for our next bit of adventure. And we were trying to figure out what would be the best thing to get him as a present, especially since, you know, he was so cool.
He's so hard to get anything
Ah,
for.
I know, but also he's just. I mean, do you remember what he was like back then? He was just like.
The grumpiest
cool.
grumperson I've ever met.
Oh, well, I thought of that more as like cool, mysterious, sort of.
No. No. I didn't think it was cool.
Oh.
He was just so grumpy.
Oh, really? Well,
That's
I
why
just saw
I
him
had
just,
to. That's why I had to make sure that he got out of his grumpiness.
oh, see, but when I saw him like leaning up against a fence post, just thought I was like, ooh, how cool. So at Junior, see, when you have friends, you can talk to them about your memories, and then you have someone to share it with. See,
It's true.
and you're probably going to share
Cool.
these
Yeah,
memories
I-
at some point in time.
The key here is I'm cool, just so you know that. All right. They said it.
Oh, Junior, Nay was so cool. Everybody, I mean, all of us hairs, we were all talking about. It's like, oh, have you seen? Oh my goodness, that Nay, he's got this amazing. Oh, like it was just something about like his like mysterious ways. We all talked about it, and then because sometimes being a flash sort of person is not always the most impressive. Junior. Let's go. Come on. What do we do with kids these days? Stealing
Junior,
on people's
why
lawns.
do you want to adventure?
No one's ever asked me that before. I don't know. Because it was, expected, I suppose. Adventuring is just, it's what you do. It's made for certain animals. They have it about them, and I always believed I was one of those animals, so that was why I never really thought about it.
That's fair. But now you get to. Now that you're here with us.
Yes.
Here's a question, and this is just delving into the minds of the other three. Why did you start adventuring? Why did you decide to leave the hearth? Decide to go out exploring, finding new things?
I believe
I was sort of tagging along with Nay. I mean, Nay was going to go on adventure, and Nay was just so cool. Juniper's very cool, super cool. So I wanted to go on adventure with them, and I mean, these three were my best friends, and we would do anything, always all together. It's just sort of like you hang about, but then you hang about a bit further, and Gwenny wanted to know things, and I'd learn things from Gwenny, and I could sort of model coolness by watching Nay just be so neat, and of course, any moment to be around Juniper. And if we adventure together, we get new stories, we see things no one's ever seen before, and then we've had experiences together that only we've had.
So
we'd be the first group to see something new, and then we'd always remember it together for the rest of our lives.
Question for the inside of Dash's head. Basically, this is just inside his own head, where truth can dwell. Was it essentially the fear of being left behind? Like, all your friends going off and not going with them?
No, never really worried about that because I always had people around me, you know.
Hmm.
There's a lot of hares, and there are a lot of. I had a bit of popularity when I was younger, but with people that I didn't. They weren't Juniper and Nay and Gwenny. I could have just spent a lot of time hanging out with all of them, but they. There's a lot of pressure if you're a hare to go and, you know, be fast, and you get praised for that, you know, for being fast and all of that. You go off and do all the things you're supposed to do, but if you just want to hang out with people who see you in that sort of way that you're expected to be, well, you can have all of those friends, or you can find those friends who appreciate the other parts of you. The parts that are not the parts that everybody's going to go and praise all the time. The thing is, you know, I come from the hopping wells are fast and everybody knows them, and it's a thing that I can do, right? I can be a long strider, and was for a long time. But I get to be a weirdo with Gwenny, and I get to be a bit of a recluse or quiet with Nay, just sitting next to each other.
Mhm.
And with Juniper, I got to be, I don't know. I was handsome when I was near Juniper. I'd rather be with my friends who make me special than just all of those, the entire packs of rabbits. You know how many hares and rabbits there are? So many. It's not being left behind. It's about being not myself.
Okay. Gwenny?
I think Gwenny started adventuring, I think, the first flight. So the first time that she could fly, she saw how big the world was.
Mm.
And she'd read about it in her books, and she'd seen the idea of how big the world was, but it was something she needed to see for herself. And her friends gave her the courage to, like, continue to dream and continue to want to see those bigger places. And so it was less scary.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, Gwenny probably very openly, especially with Juniper as well, was like, let's go here. Let's do this thing. Like, just as excited, and the same energy of, like, those friends that, like, feed off of each other. And just, like, spiral into, okay, well, we're going. Like,
Yeah.
we'll leave in 20 minutes. Like, and so I think that there was nothing to hold Gwenny back from wanting to see those things. And then having people around her that, like, supported, and she knew that she always had Nay to, like, protect her. And then she always had Dash to be like, okay, we're ready to go. Like, let's, yes, like the yes and energy of like, okay, but let's actually make sure that we have all of the things to go, because in my mind, and like, I think Juniper and Gwenny would get lost in the like, without the details. They'd like move on past the details, and I think the others helped to, like, ground that.
Yeah.
And encourage that sense of adventure, and encourage that sense of wandering.
I'm getting a vibe of, like, if it was left down to Gwenny, she'd consistently, like, plan all these places to go and things to see, and never quite, like, execute the plan.
I think she'd execute the plan, but she'd execute it without, like, proper plans. So, like, she'd go without food. Like, she'd go,
Yeah.
she'd be like, I got a pack of walnuts. And she'd, like, start the adventure without all of the other things.
Yeah.
And so she'd find her own kind of adventure, and it might not be, she might not ever get to the goal of what she was looking for, but, like, I think that
it gave like direction. The others gave direction.
The others gave direction and like that sense of grounding. Like,
Yeah.
let's be practical a little bit about this.
Let's make sure we
'cause-
don't starve to death on the expedition to.
But I don't think Winnie's ever really been scared of that though. Like I think because she's read in her books and because she's like, oh, I can survive out there. Like I can build myself that thing. I can hide up in a tree and just bunker down in a storm. Like for her, she loves her home, but she doesn't need it.
Yeah. Although you have all been anchored to the hearth for a while now. Nay, how much of Nay's reason for going on adventure is to make sure the others don't end up killing themselves?
That's actually exactly what my
That
thought
was
process
the reasoning, yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's I have these lovely friends that I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Well, I can't stop them. They're going on this adventure. If that was from the insistence of Juniper, if that was because Gwynny was, as soon as she heard yes, she was like, okay, we're going, absolutely. As soon as hearing that, and then Dash is like, well, then we're gonna put 1 + 2 + 3, and then we're gonna figure it all out, and we're gonna go. It's too late. The train's already moving, and my brain's like, well, I gotta make sure that they come back alive, and so then I will go on these adventures, and of course, Nay reluctantly will admit that he likes it too, because it gets him out and moving and whatnot. His brooding cool guy in a leather coat kind of thing, sitting in the corner with his arms crossed, or he's talking to no one, but everyone wants to talk to him, because he's not talking to anyone. Like, well, what's his story? More so, it really does come back to that.
I imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm just kind of extrapolating. I imagine there's an aspect to enjoying being challenged, like just going off the food eating competitions and how Nay approaches obstacles. He seems to really enjoy like that instance where he can not really show off, but where he can test himself against either the elements or a physical challenge, like something where he can really be like, yes, my giant form and strength can be useful, or I can
and building
overcome.
on that, which is accurate, and it really comes down to the fact that when left to his own volition and by himself, he is stuck in a state of thought.
Yeah.
But when he gets to go out on these adventures, he's in the present now. He's not thinking about the future and the past. He's in the present. And as you can tell, a lot different of a demeanor because he's in the moment. And so I think that's what's also important about this friend group and how he's getting pulled out to go and do these things. It's what keeps him balanced, even if he is very negligent in wanting to admit that to anybody. But at the same time, they all know that, I think.
Okay. I merely wanted to delve into all three of their heads just purely because we got a little bit of Junior's reasons. Well, lack of reasons, kind of instincts, let's call it. I feel like there's a nice difference to be highlighted between the older kind of retrospective, looking back into your pasts and time spent, and then Junior just basically being like, I just wanted to go out and see things, and like, do I need a reason to do all of these things? Like, love? Who cares about love? Love is icky and stupid, and girls are gross. I really hope at some point, regardless of anything else, that we find a wandering willow and create a new treehouse, which Junior will take over and put a no girls allowed sign on top of.
Or maybe we find the old treehouse and maybe there was already a no boys allowed sign on there.
Yeah. I was thinking just maybe like a no ferret sign, because you know how ferrets are.
Oh,
dangerous. Yes.
Yeah,
Repugnant.
We're gonna go to the bone archer, I guess, next, so that'll be full of death. I bet you'll like that, Junior.
Oh yes, riveting. Davis. Wait.
Yep, death and murder.
So
bones. It's a bone orchard, an orchard of bones.
I
Sounds
thought this
like
was a wholesome TTRPG.
I can give you a little like
TTRPG. What is that? TTRPG, is that sort of like tactical trading rabbit? Also,
gumption.
Gumption. Yep.
I can give you a little bit of info about the bone orchard. There are actually no animals or anything in the bone orchard. One of the weird things about the bone orchard that you would know through hearsay is that any animal, anything going into the bone orchard that is alive will slowly start feeling drained of like energy, start feeling tired, and will eventually just lay down and go to sleep and never wake up again. So the bone orchard is a place where you walk by, you don't really walk into. And occasionally, like, the reason it's called the bone orchard is because all of the trees are completely devoid of like leaves, completely devoid of anything, and they are bleached white, essentially. The additional reason is that there are some animals who do think that they can just wander in and be fine, but obviously they're not. So if you do like scooch in there, you will occasionally see bones, but that's...
I have a question about the bone orchard.
Yeah.
Does it shift day into night, or is it always day, almost like inviting in a sense?
The bone orchard is, you know, same as everywhere else, like day-night cycle and all of that kind of thing. And I will give probably to Gwynny, because I imagine she's read some papers and some, you know, old accounts and everything. It is posited that the reason Eternal Autumn is the way it is, it's a theory, is that some influence from the bone orchard is counteracting the influence from the wilds. Like that profligation of life that just like flows out from the wilds and gets things growing bigger, and sometimes the trees even move, and it can be very, you know, whatever happened in the bone orchard is the antithesis of that, and that all coalesces in Eternal Autumn, where you have a growth, life, and death at the same time, where it's just continually, you know, autumn, basically.
So whatever happens in the bone orchard stays in the bone orchard.
Yes, it's much like Vegas. And and you know, much like Vegas, it sucks the life out of you. So wait, sorry, maybe that's Hollywood. Anyway,
they've got really good floor shows.
Yeah,
is what I've heard.
Sorry, I just took a random shot there. So, I'm going to say, like, as we've been going through these bits and pieces, you have moved on from the cherry blossoms, the ring, and have made your way to the cherry orchard itself. As you are walking down the path, one of the things you'll notice about the cherry orchard, about this area in general, is that the path is a lot easier. It's not as overgrown. The ground is not as dense with foliage. It is an easier walk, and the whole vibe of the area is quite relaxed. I imagine to a degree you've seen it before, aside from Junior. This is your first time here. If you've been down in this direction, you've probably seen it before. But again, Dash, very often you're working for the long runners, so you're kind of running through. There is no relaxed in the long runners. You are delivering messages and packages all the time, so it's like, I'm late for a very important delivery.
I was almost never late because I'm real fast.
Yes, that is true.
Just I'm never late on a package or a delivery.
And
it's part of my reputation.
I mean, it's the reputation of the long runners in general. It's why they're so revered. It's such a I want to say austere, but I'm not sure that's the right word. It's such a revered organization. In a world where there's quite a lot of chaos and change continually happening, it's nice to have something reliable, like, you know, the British Rail Service. Safi got it.
I was like, the others at this table, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
they
that
reference,
that was a straight British cut there.
No, I got
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah. But as you get towards the closer towards the cherry orchard is a settlement, much like the dam. Because of the nature of Eternal Autumn, it is a lot more regular. There's no walls. There's no there's no need for like stilted houses or like very simple earth mounds, etc. The houses are built, they stay there, they're wooden, they're log cabins, that type of thing, and they don't need to be constantly rebuilt or constantly moved. You do also see, and if you like, feel free to harvest this. Along the pathways, there are pear trees, orange trees, apple trees. There are cherry trees, all type of trees in all different stages individually of flowering fruit. So you will see a pear tree with a pear just about to start growing, and a completely ripe pear, and a few pears on the floor. Like, they are continually growing and dropping fruit, which is one of the reasons why the cherry orchard exists. Pretty much everything it does is collect fruit from these trees. It is a great way to find food in this world. As you approach the cherry orchard itself, you see these, log cabins very spread out. In between each of the houses are multiple like fruit trees and trees that are just, in the process of bearing fruit themselves. And everyone is, the animals of the cherry orchard are fairly relaxed. So you essentially wander into the town, the settlement itself. A couple of people maybe like raise their hands like languidly. There are people with baskets like picking up fruit from the ground, or with ladders like going up to pick the ripe fruit off the trees. A couple of hails of like, hey, almost like you've lived here your entire life. It's like, hey, afternoon, good to see you. A few less for you, Nay.
And like I point out things to Junior, I'm like, so and it's sort of like because I've been through here, right? And I usually just don't know things until I stop, and I'm like, well, I'm giving like, it's sort of like a tour guide, but the kind of tour guide stuff you get is needing to be augmented by the things that Gwenny knows, and probably also Nay, because my tour guidance is like, well, there's a really good place to get water down there, really wonderful. You can sit there after you've run for a long time. They've got wonderful pies, and it's just like the kinds of things you would know if you like are a long haul trucker or a long runner, or like, you're like, I can tell you all the little spots to rest. I can tell you who like gives good food, but it's
Best
always
beds.
like the best
And an
beds,
inn.
but and an inn. And I imagine that then I imagine like Gwenny has like some really cool things actually about the place. And so it's just like trying to, not in a way that is obvious because some of us are old and grumpy, but not Gwenny, but trying to share with Junior that adventure's also about encountering people and being in a place, right? That it's not just about like, a giant phoenix or whatever, but it's also about, here's a brand new town with people that you haven't met yet, and that's also an adventure, right? Just trying to get Junior to be a bit more social, because Junior seems very social, but Junior is hanging out with some old people right now. That's all I'm saying. And it's just kind of like trying to like get Junior to see that there's value in places other. Yeah.
Because like when Dash is like, you know, trying to do this and trying to like get Junior involved, at the same time, very subtly, I have taken what I deem to be the most beautiful of all the cherry blossoms that we had seen from there, and I held on to one of them that was really bright and pink, and I just tapped Gwynny on the shoulder because I want to add it to her her ornate, you know, hair she's got going on here as a little gift and whatnot. And again, I'm not saying much of anything. It's just like, you know, that little energy, and all this is happening kind of like in the background off to the side while Dash is trying to explain like, why is it important to not just think of swashbuckling as, you know, adventuring, but all these other life things. And so that's happening at the same time.
Yeah, which is a very nice kind of like relaxed, companionable atmosphere.
And Gwynny's probably been so distracted at like looking at all of the different kinds of trees and like identifying them and probably just prattering off to Nay, just like, oh my gosh, and that's that kind of tree, but that's a specific kind of cherry tree, then only flowers, and this is that, and then did you see how they cycle through the tree? And she's just like prattering and, oh, thank you, and like sticks it in her hair, but like it doesn't register, I think, at least at first, what the sentiment of Nay taking that moment, because Nay doesn't normally take moments. So like, I don't think it would hit Gwynny until like later, because she's too distracted and too like prattering on about the trees and like nodding to people, because she's probably up on her little perch on Nay's little thing. Just enjoying the extra height of the view.
And I would say I'm not sure who to pass this information to. I kind of feel all three of you, depending on whether you've been to Cherry Orchard recently at all. I think the most likely person would be Dash, just purely because there could be a quick run over, you know, like, you know, it's that whole I'm retired thing, but keep insisting on every now and then, like, I'll just take this little job, you know, I'll just do a quick dash over.
Oh, no one else can do it? I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. No, you don't. No, don't worry about it.
Well, if I just have to go and deliver another package, I guess I will. No, it's fine. I mean, you're already making me do it. Oh, no, don't take it back. I don't want to. I'm just gonna. Well, I'm gone.
I would say it would make sense that you'd be the most familiar with the setup of the Cherry Orchard. Essentially, there is a chief, headman, head woman of the village, who is Sonka. She's a wildcat, and she is usually found on the porch in front of her house. And when you come to the Cherry Orchard, if you want to organize a place to sleep, or if you want to, you know, just essentially, generally, you'll check in with the chief and report yourself, or, you know, etc. So if you'd like, you can head over that way. Obviously, you have a decent amount of time. I would say if you head off, you're probably not going to get to the breach before evening, so you'll have to camp out at tonight if you do head on towards the breach. Really down to you as a group as to whether you want to just head over there now or wait and find somewhere to sleep at the Cherry Orchard tonight.
Hey. Tell me what you think. We could stay here, but I think maybe we should push forward, because I think Junior might get a kick out of camping overnight outside. I think you might find that more adventurous than... They have some very nice beds here. great breakfast. Oh, but I bet Junior would feel a bit more like an adventurer if we roughed it. What do you think?
Well, you know I love sleep. So that's lofty ask. But it is the wee little one, so we know that wee little one can't eat me, so we gotta give him something. Gotta give him something. Before I give my final answer, Gwenny.
Yes?
Gwenny, what do you think?
Think about what?
Dash, you want to ask her?
Just to make sure that Junior's not listening, right? Because,
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of a trying to. Well, camera's dark, can't see us, can't hear us. Because, there's a bit of like a wanting to curate this experience for Junior. Like, this is Junior's very first adventure, and really wanting to curate this experience so that he can have like the kind of first adventure that we had that was so magical and
Which
so
makes
amazing.
sense because like it's almost I think how you're describing it in my mind, I'm picturing the fact that like we're able to cultivate an experience, and it's such a parent-like thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, we're gonna adventure, but don't worry, we're gonna follow this exact path.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah. And just making sure that like Junior is distracted with Junior's being 13 somewhere. Winnie, we could stay here in the orchard, and it's very nice, and I like it very much, and I think it.
There's a
but I
lot
was
of
just
yummy
thinking-
fruit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have this rhubarb. But I was thinking if we pressed forward, we'd have to sleep overnight out in the woods, and I thought maybe Junior would find that exciting. He'd feel a bit more adventurous if we did that. What do you think?
Well, have you thought about asking what Junior wants?
Oh,
Have you met Junior?
Yes.
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh.
I don't know if Junior knows exactly what he wants. I think he has an idea.
Did
of
you
what he
know what you
wants.
wanted at that age? I didn't. I just knew I wanted to fly. And put my
I did
nose
know
in a
what I
book.
want. I
You
wanted to-
did?
Yeah. Well, that's not important. What's important is that he's looking for something, and I don't know if what he's looking for is exactly what he needs.
Mm.
At this moment, before it gets almost a little bit too emotionally kind of pulling, I kind of just grab Dash and really pull him on in close. So now we're really
Adults.
Junior can't hear anything, right?
Yeah.
Junior can't hear anything because we're this close. Because obviously Gwenny's like perfectly perched and like looking
Yep.
down, like with us.
all right.
Yeah.
So listen to this. We do the whole adventure thing because young buckaroo. But first, we definitely need to eat. Huh? Anyone?
I
I'm just
agree
saying.
with the eating,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
who are we to decide what Junior needs and doesn't need?
Why are you so smart?
Because I read a lot of books.
Tries to scratch his chin without, cutting himself.
Yeah.
Well, I still think food's a great idea. Just saying.
Hey,
Food.
food,
Junior,
yes.
we should get. Yeah, food.
Food, yes. I don't mind sleeping outside. You know me. It's good. I'll find a comfy bed anywhere, but
Don't sleep on me.
oh, it's kind of very comfortable. I can just squiggle on in. But if Junior wants to adventure and be treated like an adult, wouldn't we want to respect those wishes and ask Junior what Junior wants? instead of deciding for him?
I think that's best.
It's just an idea.
That's a good idea. I mean,
Sure. Let
I'm
a
happy for
13-year-old
adventure. I'm happy for
let
a warm bed.
13-year-old who has got a lot of sort of notions in his head make all of the decisions about what is safe for him, and we will not give him input on that one, and he might just then choose to make some choices that could get him killed, but I guess.
But we're here to
and then we
protect
lose
him.
forever.
yeah, protect.
But we should let him make mistakes if he wants to. If that's the path, how else is he supposed to learn? With a
People can
cushy,
teach him.
protected? Well, did you ever learn by not making mistakes?
No, I made some terrible mistakes.
But
I
it's
wish I
not
hadn't.
your job
Mm.
to make those choices for Junior. Yeah, those mistakes suck. But would have you listened when someone told you not to do something?
Depends on who.
Yeah. Who, Dash? Mm-hmm. Kind of give that look, that knowingly look, you know. While Dash actually tries to hide behind his ears a little bit, you know, use those as like ways to like shield his line of sight. While I'm just kind of just bearing down on my very. It's always like a stern gaze, but this is just a little extra more, you know, like you're gonna look at me, you know, that little knowing. Well.
Which, of course, pushes Gwynny into his face as well, because Gwynny's on top of you.
It's just like a.
Well, if you think our job is to watch on, well, not.
We can guide. We can inform. We can say, here are the two options. One gets us a warm bed and full bellies. The other one gets us closer to adventure. But we don't know when we're going to have a warm bed and food again.
Oh, I don't like that the second option didn't have food. Oh.
Well, you know me. I'll always find us food.
I'm like lost for like a second and thought.
I'll
like,
find
oh,
me.
no more food.
I won't find a nice size portion all the time, but.
Hey, Junior.
Well, before you call out to Junior. Junior. You are currently off a little ways, kind of I don't know why, but when I see Junior kind of wandering off by himself, I always see that kind of like semi-marching, like swinging your feet out in front of you, like very you know, expressive movement. You've wandered off a little ways, essentially looking at the town, looking at the settlement, the fruit trees, and all those type of things. As you you hear a like quiet like psst. And as you look around, it's not super difficult to spot this person. You see kind of peeking out, unsuccessfully hiding herself from the from you, I guess. But peeking out from behind one of the houses is this almost pure white fox, who is kind of like calling out to you, hey.
Yes. Can I help you?
And she kind of creeps around the side of the building, like shy. She is she's quite tall, almost completely white with like very prominent red eyes, and but her demeanor is very shy and kind of like she's a little crouched in on herself. Obviously, being a fox, she's quite a bit taller than you. It can be difficult to tell ages with animals, but you'd guess she's around about your age, maybe. And she says, "Are you new here? Are you a guest, a visitor?"
Well, I'm an adventurer, actually. Just passing through.
Oh, okay. So you're not staying?
A few days maybe. I'm not too sure of the schedule. I have to confer with Gwenny for that, but
You have
not permanently.
you have other animals with you?
Of course.
So so you're a group. You're heading away from here?
Yes. In time.
Do you need a guide? I can help. If I can come with you, I could. Sorry, I'm Nicotiana. I live here with my family. I want to leave.
Why would me? You don't know me.
Well, I
They ever
just
teach you about strangers?
yes,
Rapscallions?
but
The dangers of the world?
It's okay if you don't need help, but I just thought I could. I know the area. I have traveled around. I thought maybe I could come with your group and I could. Where are you going to?
Ultimately, the mountain tree. If we can find it.
I thought that was just a legend.
I'm hoping it's not. But this decision for you to come with us, it's not a decision that I can make myself. It must be formed with the group. What your family, your parents. How do they feel about you running away?
They're happy to just live here and gather fruit and eat fruit, and they have no interest in leaving. They have no interest in doing anything. It's boring. And everyone here just is happy to stay here because it's reasonably safe, because it's easy, just gathering fruit and eating fruit and gathering fruit and eating fruit. I hate it here, and I just want to go out and see the world. I just want to leave here. My parents think that either they can decide everything for me, or that they have my best interest at heart, but they never treat me like an equal. They just think that I need to be protected, or I need to just be happy with what I have.
Someone told me that sometimes boring is beautiful. That monotony is enjoyed. But it doesn't mean it's for everyone. Sometimes you yearn for more, and I don't think anyone should deny you that.
And you need both. There's nothing to do here, so all you have is standing still. I see the people come through, and they see the cherry ring, and they see the trees in eternally dropping leaves, and they are thankful for a place to stop for a day, for 2 days, even for a week. But this is a constant. We are constantly stopped here. And she gets a bit more, she, as you may have been able to see, like she's getting a bit more kind of energized or less shy maybe. And she says, I understand because I see the adventurers who come through, I see the people who come through, the animals, it's a lovely place to stop for a minute and just appreciate. But when you're here and that's all there is, it's not stopping for a minute, it's stopping for eternity. It's being trapped in nothing, and it is boring, and I don't like it, and I don't understand why the rest of my family does. I just want to leave, I just want to go, and I saw you, and I thought maybe someone my own age might understand. But if your friends, if you don't want me, if your friends don't want me, if I can't help, then I can always ask someone else.
Hang on. You do realize, if you leave with us, there is to be danger, adventures, and some possible scallywags along the way. Depends, are you up to the task?
And she kind of like sidles a bit closer, and she says, I can see things. Like, I can sometimes tell when a storm is coming, and I can tell when... That's how I've gone out by myself before. Like, I haven't gone far because my parents said I shouldn't, but when I'm out there in the forest, you know, where it's green instead of orange, I can see when the trees are getting energized, when the vines are likely to try and tie you up, you know? So I can help, and I've been out there. I know how to survive out there. I know how to traverse. It can be helpful, although I'm not much of a fighter.
Don't fear. Should anything come our way, I shall make it my mission to protect you. Now.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name is Junior.
Okay. That's your name?
What? What's wrong with it?
No, it's a very
You
nice...
pulled a face.
It's not a name I've heard before, I guess.
Well, because I'm Junior, the one and only. Now, come with me. There's some people I think you need to meet.
Okay. And, I feel like quite, let's say, confidently, Junior kind of march it off, like, in tow with Nicotiana in tow. It's not hard, you didn't wander that far away, but, your group, is still... I feel like Junior would be like, "What ho, chaps?" And then immediately this kind of conversation, little huddle, breaks up with you going like, oh, Junior, hello," you know, that kind of thing.
Yes, dear?
I've come to announce that I have made a friend. This is... What's your name again?
Sorry, I jumped one. It's Nicotiana.
Nicotiana. She, going to assist us. Should the group be in agreement. She has us a favor if she might join us.
Are you strong?
No. But I'm fast, and I know the area around here, and I can be helpful.
Why do you want to leave?
I just want to leave here. I don't like it here.
She's not happy. She's not fulfilling her purpose in life. And who should anyone be to deny her that? If only we can assist her. Leave it to be good-natured of us.
Where do you want to go?
Anywhere? Away? Even if just for a while, for something different?
Ooh.
And as a little bit of a sidebar, as I said to Junior, but for all of you, Nicotiana's about a shoulder above, so Junior's reasonably small, being a mouse, and also quite young. Nicotiana's are probably around the same age. Again, it's hard to tell species to species, but around about the same age as Junior. She's quite lean, and probably Junior's head comes to about her shoulders. She's about a head or so taller than Junior. And yeah.
Well then.
What,
Boys?
what do we think, buddy?
I was asking you.
Dash, quick.
Yes?
Dash, I think
Nay,
The
what
winds
do you
took
think?
your
It's okay.
words.
You had the thing in your mouth. It's okay. It happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's just
Yeah.
no. I think what Gwynny asked was a very good question, which was, what do you think?
So you're not strong,
No.
but you know the area.
Yes.
How much of the area?
I go out wandering by myself. I've gotten as far as the bones. I've gotten into the Reach. I've gotten into Dennington and other places around it. I've been into the Green. So I haven't just been here. But I haven't had a place to go or a reason for going. As I'm looking for now.
Well, why are we your reason?
Because I want to leave and go properly. I don't want to stay here anymore. And I can help you.
What about your family?
They want to stay here. They're happy to gather fruit and eat fruit.
Won't you miss them?
Not as much as I'd regret staying here. Again. My parents are stuck here. Not stuck here, but they were out. They did live out in the forest, and then they found this place, and they didn't want any more difficulties. It's a lot easier to just stop here and never start again. My brother and sister are the same. I'm the only one who stands out. I'm the only one who's different. I want to leave, but they don't want to, and they refuse to.
Is your travel pack ready?
Well, I have an important question, though. I know it's not food. I know you all thought it was about food. Yeah, let's see. Are you trying to leave on an adventure, or are you running?
Oh.
I don't know. I think I'll figure that out once I've gone.
If you're down for an adventure, I don't mind protecting somebody else.
That's really the big question.
Ah,
Nate, do you mind protecting somebody else?
nah, what do you think of my smile, though? It's good, right?
You're smiling?
Yes.
You'll learn.
Ah,
Well, I want to talk to your parents. I don't think you should be leaving without letting somebody know you're going.
And at that moment in time, I'd like a friendly shove on Dash's shoulder a little bit, like, you old man.
I've told them before that I want to leave, and they've said if I want to, then I can go.
Okay. Well, we would like to hear them say that.
Okay.
what they said.
Do you want me to take you to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
This way.
Dash got scaly. Dash got intimidating.
So you go through a few different you go through a few different like houses, and there's trees, fruit trees all over the place, until finally you come to a fairly nice looking kind of like log cabin. It has a big kind of like porch, like wooden porch with a table and like chairs, all made out of wood, all very, very nicely made. Very not fancy, comfy. The whole town, like all of the architecture and everything, is very log cabin in the woods vibes. Not scary, not horror movie type, but like warm, relaxed vibes. And you see two orange foxes, kind of one laid out on this kind of hammock looking thing, and the other one in a chair, kind of like relaxed. And as you approach, they see Nicotiana, and they say, the one in the chair looks over, like got a cup of tea and everything that they're drinking from, and says, Nico, you brought friends. Welcome, do you want to come and sit down? Maybe a fruit tart or two?
Gwenny's just watching Dash.
And I just get excited because I hear food.
Good morrow. I am Dashingwell Hoppington, the Long Runners, and these are my best friends and compatriots. And this is Junior. And we have come upon your child, Ekotiana, who has told us that she wants to go on an adventure, and that you are fine with that.
Nico, are you still bothering travelers, trying to get
Not
them
a
to
bother.
take you with them? I'm sorry. Don't feel obliged to take her with you. It's a fancy of hers to leave this place. But, as you see, we
Why?
have everything we need.
Why would she want to leave this place if you have everything you need?
Why do children ever want something different from their parents or their family? It is a fancy of hers. We assume once she's gone out, she'll get over it and she'll return. And the fox in the chair kind of like looks over and says, Emmon, could you gather a few of the fruit tarts? Strawberry, peach? I am Glovetail, and this is my husband, Emmon. Our children aren't here at the moment, they're with the chief, but our house is your house, as long as you abide by the strictures of the cherry orchard. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. 1 basket of fruit each, and you can stay as long as you want.
Well, we're not staying the night tonight. We're pressing out, so we'll be heading out very soon, actually.
What a shame. You should stay for a night or two. There's no rush. Stop a while.
Well, I promised Junior a little bit of adventure, and we're in a bit of a press, as a matter of fact. Dash makes these smoke rings, which you've just not seen him do before. Well, okay, I will say that Gwenny and Nay have seen him make smoke rings before. Usually,
we know it's a tell of stress or anger or frustration, like a tell of a certain kind of emotion.
It's a smoke signal as like, I don't like this at all. Like it's a no, don't like it. It's his warning sign that something is not okay. It's the
equivalent of a harumph.
No, more of like a whoop whoop whoop. Whoop. No.
And I'm glad you said, because it's the same thing I was thinking as far as from Nay. Nay doesn't scratch the side of his head in thought. It's either do or don't. And so it's like to contemplate is like, wait a second, what's going on?
Yeah. And it's just, he's just being a curmudgeonly Dash, but the smoke rings come out. So he's not excited about any of this right now. Like that he's like, no.
Would we know if that's you're not excited about the people in front of you or the situation? Like
this situation, it's like a danger, Will Robinson. It's like his red flag has just gone up and he's letting you know that his red flag has just gone up. And look, on the surface, this looks totally fine, right? There should be no reason to be concerned, but he's blowing smoke rings. And then that means he is not feeling comfortable. Something feels off for him and he may not, he can't tell you, right? It's like, something feels off and I cannot say it right now.
Yeah.
So how does this group normally, obviously the two of you, I need your input on this. How do we normally approach this when the smoke signal's going off by Dash? Do we have someone who then takes charge of okay, well then let's choose this way? Like, do we lean on somebody's intuition? How do we go about that? Because typically Nay is just going to either bulldoze or just stand still, right? So Nay's kind of needing am I supposed to be doing something here, or am I supposed to be helping somebody? So am I falling on Dash to call that, or Gwenny to call that? What are we thinking?
I feel like Gwenny sees the smoke signals and starts to panic inside because she knows what that means. And can I just get a sense of
your feet,
the parents themselves? Do they seem trustworthy, or does it seem like they just do they seem trustworthy in the sense of they're just nonchalant and they don't really care? They just assume that their daughter is going to conform to their ways? Or does it seem like in a more sinister way, there's a part of this that there's something that they're not? And I'm happy to roll for this too. I'm happy to roll for an intuition or vibe check. Kind of feel.
I will also point out that this is probably going to be a little bit tricky because in that conversation we had, you had one dash over into we'll let Junior decide if he wants to stay here or not stay here. That was where we ended that conversation.
Yeah.
And Dash was just no, we're leaving. And they're like, have food and have tarts. It's we're leaving, and it's blowing smoke. So there's clearly something has prickled Dash, because he's just contradicted what we all decided was we're gonna let Junior take the lead on this one, right? And so it's a kind of a weird, abrupt sort of shift that they wouldn't necessarily know, but it is clearly signaling to you all because we just had a conversation about we'll
Well, it's not like
so-
you, right? It's not Dash to do that. So yeah, I feel you.
No.
Well,
Dash is very about like hospitality and like
Yeah.
you know you do you as adventurers, right? We're also ambassadors, and so therefore we make sure we stay at the party, and we like there's like a kind of like a if there's anything, Dash is a bit kind of like we're being an adventurer as an ambassador, and we're role models, and we always want to put our best foot forward and always hospitality. That's kind of like one of his things. It's like keeping up appearances, Dash Bouquet, but he just clearly has something has wigged him out right now, so much so that he's like, no, we're not going to get food, we're leaving, right? In this kind of
so
Yeah.
way.
what I can say is, Gwynny, could you please give me a read a tense situation roll? I feel like that's the most appropriate one.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Or figure someone out, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be happy
read
with
it.
I'd be happy with figure someone out as well. I feel like because of Dash's additional like
Yeah.
tense situation made more sense to me, but I'm very happy with
Yeah.
figure someone out.
I don't know which one's better, but
Okay. So going off your
ooh,
myth.
I real missed.
Yeah.
I rolled
Oh,
a
yeah,
3
yeah, yeah.
for anybody that can for the
Oh
others.
no.
The image as well is like fire
this
behind and like
mouse
a mouse
just
going
going-
like ah. So
no.
it's really hard to tell exactly, like with Dash, Dash, so that's something you can read. These people, these foxes, are new to you. This area is reasonably new to you outside of the books.
Mhm.
What I can give you is that the last time you were all through here, I don't think the chief was in charge at the time. Like, you've heard of the new chief of the Cherry Orchard, but you haven't been down here since they've taken the position.
Mhm.
Another thing that was not a thing last time you were down here was the idea that as long as you gather a basket of fruit, you can have a place to stay. So that is a new policy, I guess, that's been instituted. In terms of the foxes themselves, foxes, they can tend to be kind of tricky and crafty and all that type of thing. When you've met foxes out in the world, they are tricksy is probably the best way. Tricksy foxes.
Trixie.
Tricksy little foxes.
But you've adventured with foxes before when they are part of a group, when they are part of a mix of animals. They are really trustworthy to you, but like every now and then they may play a trick on someone outside
Right.
of the group, or they may snatch an apple somewhere. They've got a little bit of a sticky fingers. The problem with foxes you've found is when you find them in a group, whatever the worst trait of that group is expounded by all of the
By
foxes. Like, they all kind of encourage each other. They all lean into it. A group of foxes, generally speaking, is one of the things you'll encounter as like almost bandits, or
Okay.
very, very heavily roguish bands of like going into a town and nicking all the bread and things like that. In terms of these ones in particular, I can't comment because
I rolled real bad.
the roll was a miss. But I can give you these pieces of general information, just nothing specific to these two.
Mm-hmm. And what is Nico doing right now?
Nico is, I would say, probably hiding a little bit behind Junior. Like, not... And I can give you this for Nico, at least. It doesn't appear to be in fear. It's more shyness, and more kind of like how shy kids are with their parents when they're trying to go against the grain.
Like Dash said, we are continuing on. So thank you very much for your offer to stay. But we will be moving forward. We just wanted to see if you knew that Nico was looking to adventure.
Yes, we are aware, and you have our blessing. From what we've heard, Nico is a very adept outside.
From what you've heard?
Or outside of the cherry orchard. Further deeper into the forests. She does every now and then say that she's leaving, and she goes out there, and within a few days she'll return. So, if you get to that point in a couple of days, feel free to just send her back. That's not a problem.
You've never gone adventuring with her.
We spent our time before the family, me and Emmon, and she kind of points inside where you can see her husband kind of like stacking a few things onto a tray.
That's where my eyes are right now. I'm just
Yeah.
watching the picture. Yeah.
We started in the forest. We were born in the wild, essentially. Not the wilds, but just out in the forest.
Of course.
We had no settlement, and we found each other. We found this place, and you've been out there. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Oh, nice to meet you. I'm Quinny.
Gwynny. You've been out there clearly, Gwynny. In the forest.
Many times.
The deeper you go, the more dangerous it is. The storms, the trees, the strange creatures you can meet out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why go out there if you don't need to? All you need here is fruit, and you have a place to stay. Go gathering, add your collection to the town, get a little bit back. You have food, you have comfort. Nothing else is needed. And as she says that, her husband comes out with a tray of stacked jam tarts and a few.
And there's a little flick with a claw into the back of Nay's head, stop, don't pay attention to the food. And what if
I'm gonna roll
never...
figure someone out just while
Okay.
we're here. I'm just gonna roll figure someone out. Just
What
as
if Nico
we're here.
never came back? Would you not miss your daughter?
By the way, when you roll to figure someone out, if you roll a 7 through 9, that's a hit, and I get one hold. And with that hold, I can ask one of the following questions.
Okay.
Is the character telling the truth? What is that character really feeling? What do they intend to do? What does that character wish that we would do? Etc. While Gwenny is talking, because Gwenny is the best at asking feelings questions,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
I'm going to just observe, and I would like to ask that question.
Sure.
What are they feeling, right? What is this person feeling as Gwenny is asking, wouldn't you miss your daughter? Gwenny's trying to suss them out, asking these questions, and I'm just and I just would like to ask the question, what are they really feeling?
So, I'm going to give you an option here. There are layers to what they are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, whatever you feel is as deep as Dash would be able to go, but also as a player, the deeper you.
I will tell you what Dash is thinking. Dash is thinking, so you can see if we're levels, right?
Yeah.
Dash is I don't like this.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're smoke rings. We creatures have wanderlust. They do not seem to be understanding. That is weird to him, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have wanderlust, and they seem to have it sort of. It does not feel natural to him. Their chillness. There's being a curmudgeon who likes to hang out in your house, and there's this. He doesn't like it. They seem far too chill about their daughter wanting to leave.
Yeah.
And when they said you could just send her back, He didn't like that either. There's something too nonchalant about the way that they're talking about their daughter for his
Yeah.
liking. Either they are neglectful and they just don't care, or there's something, it doesn't feel, they feel muted, right? They feel muted to him in a way that doesn't feel right. So he's sort of wanting to get, well, when he's asking these very, very perfect questions, like, well, how do you feel about that? But don't you understand this, right? This sort of,
They
these
have
kind of
they have
questions that
a lackadaisical kind of attitude that doesn't befit
Yeah.
parents, essentially.
Yes, but also animals that get wanderlust, right? Like he's
Yeah.
like, and he's just feeling like they want us to eat these tarts and I don't like it, right? So I think he's trying to get a sense of what their feelings, because it doesn't feel right to him that their feelings seem so.
So, as I
Yeah.
said, there are layers to this.
Yeah,
The deeper you go, the less detail you get on each layer.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
if you want to go skin deep, I'll give you a lot of information about skin deep. If you want to go deep into their emotions and deep into what they're thinking, I will go deeper but give you less information about every layer. So my question here
Okay.
is, how deep would you like to go?
Dash has a concern. His concern is either they don't care and this surface is the reality, but he's concerned that maybe they are drugged, that
Okay.
there's some kind of undue influence, that there's something going on that's influencing them
You're
inappropriately.
thinking Lotus Eaters kind of vibes?
Or get out. So he would just sort of like to hit the below surface, because what he's seeing right now does not feel right. So he'd like, I don't think I need to get to their inner onion, but I think he definitely thinks the top layer is not right, and he wants to see if there's something underneath that will either make him feel better or feel worse. Do you know what I mean? Like either they really are very concerned about their child underneath, but they're being chill about it, or that's not what's going on. So he wants to hit like layer 2, let's
Okay,
say.
a couple of layers, but quite broad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's like his first thought is like, he's like looking for like, okay, do I need to like tap nay? Like
Yeah.
who do I need to tap here? Right. That's the,
So there's no deception here on the surface. Oh, like in the first couple of layers.
yeah. It's
It-
about drugging.
yeah, there's no, they're not thinking like, oh, here's some food and you'll be one of us. Not precisely. They understand the appeal of safety because that's what they're feeling. Like, here is one of the places that is reasonably safe. The other aspects of it is like, I'd say if we go into layer 2, they're scared. Outside of here is something they have not experienced for a long time. That feeling of stress and survival, and the feeling that you have to struggle every day to keep going. The best way I could describe it, which everyone here as a player will understand, is burnout. You know, when you hit that point where you can relax and then you find yourself a month later having done nothing because you're just so burnt out. Like, that's where they are, you know, and essentially they've never been able to pull themselves out of that. So the vibe you're feeling is essentially like, we've had multiple conversations with our child about this. We have provided them a safe place. If they want to leave, there's a certain point, and this is a very animalistic thing. There's a certain point where you have to kick the bird out the nest, and they fly, or they don't. And that's something that Wanderlust, like that. I'd say that's the part which you could probably see Wanderlust still in them, is that sense of like, it's different it's different for the animals. It's not that abandoning your kids is applauded. It's just something that sometimes can't be avoided, and it's a natural
Nature.
It's a part of nature. So even though they do have that sentience, that kind of intelligence and stuff, we are all still dictated by our animal instincts as well. Even us humans. And so essentially I would say that's that's the first couple of layers, is the enjoyment of safety and the fear of having to go back out and struggle to survive again. Like, even in the hearth, it's different. You know, you still have the overgrowing trees, you have to clear it away. If you step outside, you know, you still get the storms, you still got all of these things to contend with, to survive with. Even though it is comfortable to a degree, like, here, you don't get the same sense of community because everyone can relax. Like, they all pitch together to put fruit in, they take fruit out, but there is no struggle, there is no survival instinct here, almost. It's just stop. And the important thing about stopping is when you stop, you can appreciate the calm for a second. But if you just stop forever, then there's no point to the onwards, you know? You need some form of drive, you need some form of thing pushing you onwards, and it seems like I can give you this as well, like, as a part of your hit. Nico Tiana has that drive. The parents don't anymore. Like, it's the fear is bigger than the drive, basically.
I was gonna ask, it's more of most of us will pause, but they're actually hitting stop.
Yeah. And that's
I'm understanding.
essentially what I will say is you can see that there is more to it than that. You're not sure exactly, like, you.
Yeah. This is like the initial vibe check, right?
Yeah. Essentially trustworthy in the sense of they're not being deceptive, they're not trying to trick you, they aren't under some sort of influence. Does the group
pick up on this, or is this just a Dash perspective at this
point? I would say without a communicate, obviously you can, like, do a sidebar and whisper and stuff, but I would say just based on Dash, like, you know, in your periphery, the puffs get a little bit slower, and it goes from concern for the group, like a kind of stress, to more disapproving, just in general. Would be my guess.
No, I'd say no, he's still a little bit concerned, but now he has to scout differently, right? Like, it's like he needs to scout differently. So, like, you can tell he's still, he's a hare. Hare get eaten by all sorts of animals.
Yes.
So his little I'm an animal that gets eaten by other animals vibe is not abated.
Yeah.
But it's you can tell that he's like,
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably just take a fine walk through here and then make our way out. Nico, you are absolutely welcome to join us. We're going to be going quite far.
And I'm not going to turn back. Not when I have a group with me. Before, I didn't like feeling alone. And she's basically, like, speaking almost from behind Junior, but also, like, facing away from her parents. And basically pretty much, like, not ignoring them, like, very obviously conscious of them, but trying to kind of block them out as she's saying this. She says, I just didn't like being out there alone. I've been waiting to find someone to go with.
Well, take us on a walk about the church. It's been a while since I've been here. Just to see what might have been changed. It was very nice to meet you.
And Glovetail says, the one in the chair, the wife, says, well, before you go, and Emin kind of walks out of the house and lays down on the table in front of you, like the tarts and a couple of pies, a crumble. A couple of them are like the crumble and the pies are wrapped up. The tarts are kind of like left standing there. And Emin says, something for your journey. And of course, we need to make sure our daughter is fed, at least for a few days as she leaves.
Do I pick up on Dash specifically any concern about the food?
I think so. I think you would, because generally speaking, Dash is like, ambassador, always say yes. There's always like he kind of does a lot of protocol is what he does. Like, it's like we did when we were in that last place and people were like, oh, I don't know, a party. And he's like, well, he was talking to Junior, like, well, you have to, like, there's going to be a speech. You've got to be there, right? There are these sort of like expectations. And he does not immediately move to do the proper thing. He also has been taught to be polite. So there's a thing about that, right? He's a very protocol kind of rabbit. His parents had a lot of expectations of proper behavior for a hopping well. And
so did the long runners.
And so do the long runners. There's just like a lot of that in him. And you can see that he does not do the thing that he normally does, which is like, you just see it, right? He doesn't do anything rude, but he is not moving yet, right? He is assessing. It's like, remember that time back when we were in the woods and there was like some predators about, and Nay was like going to get very protective, and you were doing things, and we're all sort of like figuring things out. And like Dash was like, okay, what are the routes out of here? Like, what are the routes, right? Where are the exits, right? Like he was doing that look. You kind of see him doing where are the exits right now, right? As opposed to let's do the protocol of food exchange and all that sort of thing. And it's probably not like a huge long gap, because that would be too awkward, and he hates awkwardness in his own weird way. But it's like, you know him very well. You know him very, very well. And it is 2 beats too long. And you can
it's
see
2
him,
beats too long for when Sheepy gets back. Gwynny 100% would step in and be like, thank you so much. We're going to have this packed up and we're going to go. Like, Gwynny doesn't like it, but Gwynny also, like, she feels really weird and uncomfortable about it, but she's also feels weird and uncomfortable about allowing a stranger into our group. She's actually more distrusting of allowing someone in than but this whole situation makes her uncomfortable. So, and she sees that you're uncomfortable.
And I don't know if Nay's the same way, but Dash is also the same way, that he doesn't like to bring people into the group when we adventure. Like, I think ever since the thing with Juniper, like, it is just, I imagine this is a very tight group, these 3, and they do not adventure with other people lightly, and they don't just bring people in lightly into their group. I just don't. Very polite, but keep people at distance.
Is that like, so Nay, as much as exactly what you're already saying, on top of that, to build a little bit more, is that Nay doesn't like the uncomfortableness and all that kind of stuff, but also Nay doesn't like the uncomfortableness of an empty stomach, right? So that constantly, you know, because he has the biggest stomach out of everyone in the group. I mean,
absolutely.
Just also physically speaking. And so he's kind of getting drawn to this, but he also got the wrap on the back of his head, you know, from Gwenny's talons, kind of like, hold on, like, where are you? Get your head back in the game here. And so
don't get distracted. Like, don't get brought in by the food.
And so with that happening, though, there's 2 thoughts that are going on here. One of them is that he because obviously honey badgers use their nose as one of their best ways, besides their whiskers, one of their best ways of being able to tell their threats, because their eyesight is not good at all.
But they kill snakes.
I would like to use my
badger.
I would like to use my nose to kind of, you know, understand this with the food, and based off what we find out from that information on learning about the food through my nostrils, then I have one more thing I would like to add on top of that. Potentially.
Please. He's one of Nay wants to suss food smells.
Okay.
What would I roll for that?
My brain is like, luck? No, because I would say
grapple an enemy, target someone, engage in melee. No.
I would say, like, read a tense situation would kind of make sense to me here, just purely because.
Hold on. I would just like to point out, though, just before we take that roll as a thing, for the record, I just would like to point out that I don't feel like you have leveled up your stats. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I feel like you have I just feel like you have a higher stat there, just for the record. It's my feeling. Just so you know.
I'll take
'Cause-
that into consideration.
Thank you.
I forgot about that. You're right.
Because I just feel like you rolled higher than that. That's all.
Well, so it was a 3, which means that it would be plus plus 1 or 2 maybe.
Yeah.
So it would still be a miss.
Yeah,
in this
be a miss. It would still be a miss. I'm just very worried about body snatching. Go on. Never mind. I'm fine. Don't worry about it.
So what? Off the roll. What I'd say is, I'm actually wondering whether I should really have asked for a roll here, because like sense of smell.
I mean, yeah, go ahead and override it if you'd like to.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't like a critical miss, is what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah. Okay. What I'll say is, as far as you can tell, there's nothing wrong with the food. I will also say, as a note, you sense no deception or no intent to deceive in your reading of them, Dash. So
Yeah.
take
If
that.
they believe it, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So now with that information, this is perfect. So my thing, what I want to do will work then.
Okay.
What I want to do here, and I'll eventually get into my character, is that I want to now present a fun festivity for the group to partake in. Not everyone has to do it, but hopefully all of the foxes will go ahead and join in this.
I think we should have an eat-off, and that will prove exactly how dedicated we are to this adventure, and if your daughter is worthy to come.
And both like the husband has like already taken one of the tarts and like sat down and started eating it, and the wife kind of looks at Yude and like reaches out and picks up a tart off the tray and like starts eating it. An eat-off.
Yes.
A competition to see who can eat the most.
I knew you weren't dense. Excellent. Well, little one, are you in?
And I'm most of my energy, even though I'm like sussing with my peripheral a little bit, it's more so actually on our potential party mate, because that's what I care about the most is our party. You know, what is our group going to be like? I need to know. I care about that person that's joining us. Are you really a part of us, or are you whatever this awkward energy is?
Yeah. Junior, you feel like a kind of small tug at your back. It's not like someone trying to get your attention. It's just Nico, essentially like grabbing the back of your jerkin, in kind of like a self-comforting gesture, you know. And she says, "I don't have that much of an appetite, but I could try."
I think it's more the participation that counts with Nay, just showing the enthusiasm of it, to be honest.
Okay. Yes.
Great. Okay.
Gets all excited. You could see like the energy character. Like normally, like he's such a more subdued character, but when food is involved, you can just feel this percolation of energy.
And as Nay is like getting more excited, Gwenny flutters off, allowing him to just kind of like let the energy and let him move forward, and very quickly is like right beside Dash. I don't like this.
Nay.
Yeah.
I kind of just want to have this be a roll, so could you roll me finesse, please? Just because I feel it's appropriate for an eating contest.
I was looking at the wrong thing. There it is.
I'm gonna just say to Gwenny, quick, do a big circle, just to see how everybody else in the town is behaving, if you could.
So seeing as this is for Nay and for his character, I don't have a specific like success or fail here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present you with options, and you can decide what is a success for Nay. So I will say that the majority, I know that Dash and Gwynny are hesitant about the food. I'm not sure about Junior. And I know that Nico is willing, but, you know, like, not super enthusiastic, you know. So
just keep my hand on Junior's shoulder so he cannot go to where the food is. Just in case Junior wanted to step forward to get the food, I just in a very fatherly way, just put my hand on his shoulder in a way that seems like I'm just being friendly, but I will not let him move towards where those tarts are. Just a thing.
There are a couple of options here. Tell me which one is the success and which is the one you desire for Nay. One of the options, considering you got a hit, would you like to start the eating contest and win it so quickly that no one else has a chance to eat any of the food? That is one option. Essentially, you just go home before you know what's happening. You've eaten all the food because there's not that much. Or would you like to go down the path of like 1-for-1 with the mother who is there, and technically speaking, you know, you'll be like, grab a tart, eat it, and then look at her, and she's gonna feel awkward and be like, okay. Essentially, down that path is you winning by, after a few tarts, she's basically gonna already be full. Or would you like a custom crafted, your own kind of way things play out? Something that you have in your head that works for Nay and for the whole situation?
So a little custom. So I liked what you were talking about there in like the quick sweeping victory aspect.
Yeah.
But first, what I wanted to do was suss the idea of, is this food good? Are they going to eat it themselves? Right? Like, are they? Why is there hesitancy to eat food? You could say you're not, hungry. So I wanted to kind of see that, but the excitement of the food still kind of takes on over. So my assumption is watching them eat one, and then, okay, now it's time to impress everyone. Then, now that no one just instantly, assumedly, just passes out, then I pick up and just eat it all and be like, ha, we're done.
Yeah, so there's like a quick back and forth where it's like tart, and then Glovetail basically goes to pick one up and says, I can't eat anymore, and kind of like just relaxes back in the thing, and then Nay just goes, what? And just like consumes the entirety of it. And I will say, in the meta, in the out of character, you feel no different. There is no change. It's food.
Delicious.
And very tasty, very tasty fruit tarts and etc.
He's really excited.
While that's happening, Gwynny would also have just taken a flight, kind of like dipped back out of and gone to just do a quick scout. You can continue with your moving forward, but I think that after hearing what Dash said to her, having this like almost like realization of like, okay, at first it was like, for Gwynny, it was like, why are the parents so nonchalant about letting their child go?
Yeah.
And then seeing Dash get kind of frustrated was the major reason why she said to Nay, like tapped him, like, like, let's hold back, because knowing that Nay is just going to be distracted by the food. And it wasn't until that moment that I think Dash said something that Gwynny didn't think about the fact that, like, maybe there's something keeping them here that's outside of their control, and got very concerned very quickly and was like, definitely there was no politeness about it. Basically just like,
just took off and...
Irish goodbye, gone, up in the air. Like it was like a panic, almost flight of like wanting to scout the area to see other people's movements.
Yeah.
And Dash is just like there smoking his pipe with his hand on Junior's shoulder in a very, very fatherly way. but like the subtle protection where Nay's the obvious protection, lots of might, and Dash is the finesse protection. Like, I'm just gonna be right here, not looking obvious, just sort of just making sure Junior does not eat anything. We will take samples, but
Junior's like a bit perplexed by this because it's like he's seeing all this great food, but the fact that Dash has sort of like done that in a certain way is like Junior knows it means something. He doesn't understand what's going on, but he knows it means something, so he's just sort of like waiting till later till it's more appropriate to talk about it.
yeah.
I think this is the quietest we've seen Junior the entire time.
Yeah.
And I think that makes Gwynny feel uncomfortable too.
Yeah.
I think that's why Nate wanted to do
Mhm,
Nate's kind of
mhm.
brash way of applying what they're secretly thinking.
Sledgehammers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. He's like, I'll just eat all the food. I've got a great constitution. That's what they said in his inside voice.
Gwynny, what you see, like, as you take off, essentially we'll say for the sake of argument, like, there's a little bit of small talk, just kind of like feeling each other out. For Gwynny, while you're up there, what you see is the kind of this spread of log houses, wooden houses, interspersed with fruit trees all over the place. You see a lot of animals kind of slowly moving between the houses and the trees, most of them with baskets, just picking up fruit, occasionally a bit further away with ladders and stuff at other trees, like picking the fruit. I would say that the best vibe I can give you is, again, fairly lackadaisical. It's not lacking in energy or...
Is that normal from my books about this place? From what I've read?
What I would say is the cherry orchard has always been a place that is reasonably safe because of the nature of the eternal autumn all around it. There has always been a tendency to rest there for animals. You know, you're on an adventure, you pass through, and it's a great opportunity to rest, to stop there for a day or two before you carry on. Generally speaking, the cherry orchard was always a place where animals would stop a while, and then move on.
Okay.
At this point, it seems more like the way things are set up. You can grab fruit from the ground, from the trees, throw it into your basket, take it to the chief, take it to the head. That's your job, basically. That earns you a place to stay, a permanent place to stay. And so you get assigned a house, you get a place to live, you get a bed, you get all the fruit and food you can get. The desire for fruit is such that the little extra they gather means they can trade for whatever they want. So, you know, there's other food and etc. that gets brought down to take away the fruit, the excess fruit, let's call it. In a way, in a really weird way, actually, I hadn't thought about this, but it's kind of almost like a retirement home. You know, like it's a.
Is that what the book stated? Like, if that's the vibe I'm getting, but is that what the book stated?
It's not how it was before. But before it was more of a rest stop. Now it feels more like a stop.
Stop, a permanent stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after I do my little tour, if I don't see anything super out of the ordinary, but I do see like no one seems to be moving with urgency. Like everything just seems.
Yeah. There's one thing I can give you. Further to the south and a little bit to the east, outside of the cherry orchard and autumn, etc. Probably further towards the boneyard, you do see this kind of like black splodge of like movement. It looks like there's a few like crows and ravens off over in that direction, like flapping over around there. But That's just as a sidebar. Something you would see.
Where was that towards again? Sorry.
Southeast.
Southeast. Okay. I'll come back down.
Okay. And as you land, there's kind of like probably Glovetail says, well, that's the food. I hope it was enjoyable. If you want more, you could wait and we could bake up a few more tarts or something. But as I said, you are most welcome to stay as long as you like, as long as you pick your fill, earn your keep. But as you said, you're moving onwards.
Yes. Thank you so much. We will be moving on. We have somewhere to be before the sun sets today, so.
The sun is
It's
moving
been
in.
an honor.
And it is always gratifying to see a long runner. You do a wonderful job. So,
Rolling stone gathers no moss. We will take care of your daughter, and we'd best be going.
of course. Nico, we'll see you in a few days again. Have a fun trip.
Let's go. Winnie can point out some sights to see.
Yes.
Thump, 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 thump.
I get up now because I was kind of nice and comfortable about this nice eating, competition, if you want to call it that.
And I think as you're walking away, and I'm assuming you're leaving the cherry orchard. You're back off into the forest, away from autumn, and yeah. Okay. As you're leaving, Nico detaches herself from Junior, who she's kind of been a mixture of shyly and kind of like curled in on herself a little bit. She's still,
Like, she was afraid of a cult. Sorry, go ahead. Go on. You were saying.
she's still not confident. She's still a little hunched in on herself, but that seems to be just a general demeanor for Nico. She's not as kind of concerned now. As you're walking away, she says, they mean well, but they're stuck in a very specific mindset. Sorry. I'm going to assume at this point that you've introduced yourselves. I'm not 100% sure that it happened, but I think given the circumstances, as you're walking over there, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
Dash." And Nico says,
Well, actually, not until they get out of town. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say that while they're still in town, the pleasantries are not. There's like an outward pleasantry in terms of like, well, this is what this is, and the last time I was here, it's very much. It seems like like what he always does in terms of like, this is where I've been, but it's also very much, hey, Nay and Gwynny, and he's not looped Junior in because Junior is the new person, but like the kind of things he's pointing out are things that he would like you to pay attention to just in case, right? We've gone from sightseeing to there's that, and also just sussing out people. So it's a very we're so pleasant. We're walking through the place, but it's actually a tactical exit until they get out of the town itself before any kind of introductions happen.
Yeah. In that case, as you're walking out, during this kind of what Nico is saying, she says, "Mr. Longrunner, I apologize for my parents. They're a little bit set in their ways. But
And he
I have no
call
intention
me
of
Dash.
Mr. Dash, I have no intention of leaving the group. I will see you. Where are we going?
And he does not answer until they get outside of the town's like periphery.
Yeah.
It's slightly weird behavior, I think, for Nay and Gwenny, right? But I think it's very clear to them that he's like, don't like it.
Yeah.
We're waiting. We're moving to safety, but like in a way that doesn't involve running, right? I think it's a very deliberate thing, and I don't know if Junior picks on it. He might pick up on a vibe, but like, and once they get out of town, he's like, we're going to go and try to find the mountain tree.
And that's actually when my focus has become more steely.
Yeah.
Is that now that we've left the confines of this eternal autumn, now it's back to, here's my group. Like, now I'm focused on protection.
In that case, you'll be heading to the Reach before you...
Yes. And then into the wilds itself.
I've been there before. I know the way.
Good. You say your parents are set in your ways. How about the rest of the town? I mean, the last time I went through here, different chief, different feeling all around.
That's part of why I wanted to leave. Everyone has stopped. I think maybe they're scared. But the town...
I will have taken one of the wrapped tarts because that's polite. I would have like taken a wrapped tart, not eaten it. It's wrapped.
Before Nay managed to eat it,
Yeah.
Nico continues and says, it hasn't changed that much since Sonka became the chief. It's just where the orchard used to be a tempting respite, I think now it's a guarantee of being able to ignore everything outside. The fact that all you have to do is gather your share of fruit, and you have a place to stay, and you have a place to kind of block out the rest of the world. I think maybe that's a bit too attractive to some animals. I think it's hard for me to say because it's all I've really known at this point, but I feel like the being sheltered from the need to survive, from the need to struggle, I just think it's gone in the wrong direction a little bit. It's good to have a place to shelter, but it's now become a place to hide and to stop.
How many people in your tone got the Wanderlust in the last 2 years and left? How many people your age? When the Wanderlust happens, how many of them have left this place?
A few. 5, 10. Mostly children, kids, mostly my age around.
Welcome to the group. That's Junior. You answer to him.
Junior. We met, though.
Chain of command. He gives you a directive, you do it. So that you don't get killed.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna sing the marching song. Traveling song. I hope you can sing it well.
By the way, I'm Quinny, and this is Nay.
Hello, Miss Quinny, Mr. Nay.
Sorry, Dash. Didn't mean to interrupt your marching song.
No, it's fine. I'm gonna scout ahead a bit if you don't mind.
And while that happens, I kind of motion to Junior, because obviously wanting to be much more protective, and then the relationship that I had with his mother.
So, Junior,
Yes,
what
sir?
do you sense about your friend?
I sense she is honest. Why would someone in that environment fight so hard to get away? She wouldn't do so to trick us.
Are you thinking that, or are you feeling that?
I'm feeling that. Seems very sincere.
It's good enough for me. Thank you.
And I slow my pacing down again to resume being in the back.
And at the same time, would it be acceptable for Gwynny to kind of be either like hopping or flapping nearby Nico as you're walking?
Yeah, I think that she would still be flying.
Yeah.
I think that she would be taking to the air because she wants to watch Nay in concern of everything he ate.
Yeah.
But also in defense. So she's like gliding back and forth, trying to keep pace with with the walking speed, but it's very much just a gliding.
Okay.
She's probably left her pouch. She's got her her goggles back on. She's left her pouch with Nay because she doesn't have to carry it, so he can.
As you're kind of like either floating or flapping nearby Nico at some point, as Nay is off with Junior, she will kind of like look up and say, "Miss Gwynny, I always wished I could fly. I feel like if I could fly, then someone would have taken me with them earlier. I think it's nice to be so free as to be able to leave the ground."
And I always wish that I had paws to be able to do things that I cannot. We all hope for things and wish for things that we don't have ourselves. It is a free feeling to fly, but flying alone doesn't get you very far.
I always wondered whether because I was different, that's why I was different to my family. All the rest of them are just orange, you know, how regular foxes look. But I'm white. I wondered if maybe because I was different on the outside, I was also like different on the inside. Especially seeing as everyone else was mostly happy to just stay. And I wanted to leave.
That's the wanderlust. You can't control that.
Yeah.
Your feet speak to you and you must go.
Yeah.
I think this is something that actually we just did spontaneous in that moment. But maybe Junior would notice it. We've actually just moved into a tactical formation, right? Like
Okay.
that's just what happened, right? Like Dash has been like moving forward, back. Gwynny has been circling. Nay has sort of like it was like we just sort of moved into a tactical formation, and Dash was like, Junior, you're in charge of the new one, right? And so I don't know if Junior noticed it, but we have just moved into like it's a very different vibe than our wandering before. And like I think you can see the kind of very well oiled and professional and experienced sort of dynamic of people who have been in very dangerous woods many times in the past. And it just sort of like, it just happens, right? It's a
Yeah. I have a question. Given
is it about the prophecy?
Which one?
Because I was just going to mention, popping back.
Yep.
Do you have any famous ancestors? Or a famous sword or something like this?
No.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
You remember Junior,
Yes, sir.
front and center?
Sir.
The prophecy you told us about, it said you must find a legacy in repose and a kit that doesn't fit. Only then can you regain your heart. Kit doesn't fit, and repose. Also, don't judge a book by its cover, Nico. You can have different fur and doesn't mean you're a different person. You can dye your fur if you like, which do sometimes for festivals. Just because you look different doesn't make you different. It's what's inside. Anyway, there was a prophecy, and sort of feeling like maybe all of that might have been part of it somehow.
It does make sense. Kit is another name for a child fox.
So, legacy, Winnie, Junior, you know these things. Think on it. Legacy, repose.
Yeah. Question. My question. Sorry. As you keep walking and talking as over the prophecy or the speech that was given to you by Mrs. Crabapple? No, yeah. I don't think it was Crab. It was Crab something. But there are two possibilities here. It really depends how far ahead Dash goes and how high Gwynny goes. One of you is going to be spotted by the crows and ravens. I'm just curious as to who you think it would be. Essentially, if Dash goes further afield in front, it would probably be Dash. If Gwynny maintains a height, it would probably be Gwynny.
Well, I feel like I saw them earlier, right?
Yeah.
And if Dash has come back to talk, it's now my turn to scout.
That's
because I think that we've had that after years of we kind of trade off. But I know that they're there already. So I'm going to be doing what I can to protect us, and I'm probably choosing to not go as high. And I'm sure that Dash notices that too.
Okay. In that case, you will be accosted first by the crows and ravens, who essentially they kind of as they see you, as you get a bit closer, they've been kind of hovering and squawking. You can't really hear exactly what it is they're you can't really tell exactly what it is they've been saying, but when they spot you, they kind of flock over reasonably quickly and start flying around you and flying past you, and you can hear them. They start basically shouting at you like Pipsqueak, Fluffball, Slowpoke. Ah. Crows and ravens are semi-sentient. So they can speak, but they are, I would say they're fairly unsophisticated when it comes to talking. So essentially what you get is not really a discourse, you get mocking jabs of tiny, slow, that type of thing.
Come up with some new insults. I've heard all those before.
And obviously I get very uncomfortable because I can already hear this, and my scent too could tell that there was a molting of feathers about, and it's like, I know what Gwenny smells like, and that's not Gwenny.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm not doing anything besides I now have my branch of justice at the ready, and I'm holding on to it just because it's like that's what makes me feel safe again.
Yeah. As it keeps going, they also notice the rest of the party, and they a few of them like kind of swoop down and kind of not threateningly like they're attacking you, but just kind of like swoop over you at a fair distance, definitely even out of the range of the stick and the badger. They kind of swoop past and they say, "Flop ears, tiny, stripe dog, stripe dog." Just kind of throwing.
We've all heard these before.
I don't like it still.
No, I'm not saying I like them, but they're not very ingenious
They're not super
or creative.
Yeah, they're not very creative, they're not super smart, and most likely they are just passing a little bit of time in the hopes that one of you will fall over and they are dead, and they will be able to pick at the food. Pretty much. That's their whole deal, basically. And it's one of the reasons why you can find a lot of crows, ravens, the whole genus family of the more vulture type animals, is because it's near the bone orchard.
Can you see these crows?
Yeah.
You listen to make jest, but you don't understand comedy. Kind of your occupation.
Pipsqueak.
Here you come,
Showered by Corby calls it your prophecy. Don't let him get a rise.
As I'm holding the my branch of justice, I'm also keeping an eye on each one of our party members. And at the moment, one of the 5 currently hasn't been accosted for. Can I still see them? Can I still see Nick? Okay, cool. I didn't know if all this energy from the crows and the ravens kind of flying around and creating all this mocking energy has created a distraction of any kind potentially.
Yeah, and as I would say Nico's probably walking reasonably close to you, and maybe even like hiding a little bit underneath you. She says, "I've been this way before. They won't attack. They'll just hope that we die on the path and they can eat us."
Not that old.
Well, if you know that for a fact, then you need to stay much further in front of me. I are rear guard.
Grandpa Flop Ears.
Don't have any children that I've admitted to.
Gray hairs.
Flying chickens. Chickens fly, right?
Panel.
They can't fly.
Panel.
Yes.
Corby calls.
Yep.
To be showered
Corby
by
calls. Yep.
them. We are definitely on the right path.
And as you keep going, after a little bit of time, you hear crashing off the path. You hear movement, and as you I'm imagining here, you kind of like gather a bit closer together. You see coming out of the forest towards the path a very tall, very broad. I'd say maybe very slightly smaller than Nay badger, accompanied with a couple of ferrets, a hedgehog, and a otter. They all appear to be dressed fairly rough. There's kind of like very ragged clothing. Looks like they've been dragged through the forest almost. All of them with like headbands across their heads, and you know, I would say you've been around and about the ways enough to get a vibe of like they're not bandits, they're not, you know, rapscallions, but they are probably adventurers who skirt the rough side of things. Let's say.
And well met.
Yeah, as they step out, the badger kind of pauses for a second and turns to his friends and says, "You see, I told you, mates. If we followed the crows, there was someone else around here. They can't have been just shouting at us." And then he like looks up and says, "Salutations. My apologies for taking you by surprise. It was not our intention."
How goes your travels?
Bad, as such that it may be. We attempted to enter into the wilds and found our pathway blocked, unfortunately, and we had to turn back.
Blocked by what?
And one of the stoats says, one of the stoats says, Briar, it wasn't really blocked, we just couldn't get through." And he kind of like cuffs him, the badger kind of like cuffs him across the ear and says, "Quiet you, it was blocked. It was a difficult journey, and we decided to regroup before we tried again."
We're just coming from the cherry orchard. Don't stay there long. Doesn't feel good.
We don't ever go up the ways of the cherry orchard. It is filled with hopeless creatures.
Maybe. Anyway, we're heading off towards the wilds. Thank you for your information, and I hope the information we were able to share with you will be useful.
Well, before you do part ways, a quick question. Is the way towards Dennington clear now? Because last when we tried it, it was,
well,
untraversable.
We just went from Dennington to the cherry orchard, and we were able to make it through fairly easily.
And I will say as well at this point, there is a small vibe of the others, the ferrets, the otter, and the hedgehog, of kind of looking over everyone in like a very like sizing you all up. Nico as well is 100% hiding behind Nade at this point, kind of peeking out very slightly from behind Nay. I'm sorry, Nay, but you have now got you are shield from shyness and etc. At this point, you've got a friend already.
And by the way, Dash has stepped forward so that Dash is taking up visual space for these folks, so that the rest of our group can do the things that they do in these moments. Right? He's just like, I will chat with them with the "How's your journey?" Well, you do all of your sussing out, and you know, the things that you have to do.
I will say the badger, who appears to be the leader, is only looking at Nay, like not interested at, even when he's talking to you, Dash, he's like staring at Nay. And he says,
"What's your name, friend?"
"Brymark."
"I'm Dashlington Hoppingwell, the Long Runners. It's nice to meet you all."
"A long runner. You do yourself a proud job there. We all appreciate the work of the long runners."
Do I
Just, like-
see anything while I'm up in the air?
Yeah.
No. In terms of like if there's anyone else like hiding, ready to ambush.
And I'm not really paying attention to the words. I'm like circling to see if there's traps, if there's anything else or anything that looks out of the ordinary? Are the crows still?
Oh, the crows are still
Chatting.
shouting, and yeah, and they've added in some insults. They're like spiky back, and river dog, and stuff like that. So, but the newcomers are pretty much ignoring them. You can maybe take a guess as well, like given the direction the crows came from, they were most likely shouting at these these guys before finding you, and some of them coming over, which is how these guys found you, basically.
I'm doing pleasant travelers. When two travelers groups meet, we have pleasant talk with each other and share information. I'm doing that, and like you can imagine that in the background while Nay and Gwynny and Junior do their stuff, because I'm just basically doing a social distraction for them to do their stuff.
As you're talking, the badger, as you're kind of having a bit of back and forth, in a moment of a gap in the conversation, Briarmerk looks at his companions and says, well, the best news today is we've managed to find the path again. And he kind of like steps forward onto the path, but in the way of you, and like kind of turns around and like folds his arms and says, took us a long time to get back on the path. And there's kind of like a very tense, silence, I feel like, at this point.
And I want to say this is where Nay kind of picks back up on like, the Badger Kingdom way. So I go ahead and I sheath my my stout branch, and in this process I walk up and I'm going to do what I like to feel is the badger greeting to see, what is this really a badger that is a part of badgerdom, or is this a potentially bastardized badger
or outcast
that is,
vibes,
or outcast? So I walk up and I just start.
As he walks up, I walk back. It's like there's like a dance that we do. Like he walks forward and I move back into the back position. It's just how we do.
And so I'm doing all this pounding of my chest, and then I go to put my arm out because there's supposed to be a greeting for badgers where they connect, forearm, elbow, and then they just stare. Yeah. And you're not supposed to strike. So that's what I've now presented towards Grimuk.
He engages in the greeting, and then as you're like both almost like snout to snout, he says, going by what I know, you must be Nay Ironwood. I like your stave.
Your senses don't deceive you.
You're smaller and older than I would have expected you to be.
But still alive.
I've heard stories more about your stick than about you yourself. I feel like maybe that's the creation of the legends, of the stories I've heard, and not you yourself. I'm thinking maybe if I had that stick, we would have been able to get deeper into the wilds.
You think it's the stick, young one? Obviously, after being called out for being an old timer.
Yeah.
I take the stick and I just jam it into the ground.
Well, why would you like me to prove to you what I already know to be true?
I'll tell you what. Face me. We have it out here. Just you and me. My lads will stay back. And you will not be accosted. Winner gets your stave.
And what do I get for the trouble? We are adventuring too.
If you win, we'll leave you be in peace and carry on our way. Otherwise, all bets are off. My lads are hungry and they are tired.
And that means
I
it'll
look-
be easier to beat.
I also look to see if Garmuk has any kind of protection, like shin guards of sorts. Because if you remember, much earlier in this, we haven't had to use them yet, but I got the stone bracers from town. So I also would like an accompanying set of shin guards. I'm curious, does this badger possess those? Because I want those on the table.
He doesn't. He does have what looks like kind of bark like arm guards and bark leg guards. So they're not as they don't protect as much, but they're a bit more flexible. And as he's speaking, he does like start to remove them and kind of throw them to the side as he's kind of squaring off against you. And
Yeah, I go ahead and remove mine. Well, then I want those guards also on the line, and you've got yourself a deal.
As he looks, as Dash says, easier to beat, he looks at Dash and says, 3 grandparents and 2 children. It doesn't matter how tired we are, old one. And then he kind of he dismisses Dash and like stares back at Nay and says,
Dash just pulls out one of the tarts and says, "Here, for you." Old people love to give people presents, and just hands them one of those tarts.
He looks at it and he says, "Add it to the poll."
And I even before then, I take a bite out of it and I toss it over to the pole.
You got yourself a deal.
And the others with him move away and form a little semicircle behind him, kind of in support. No weapons are drawn, they're very clearly happy to go along with the leader still so far. Anyone who'd like to, please feel free to roll me figure someone out.
I feel like I've been observing and watching.
Yeah, I think you've done the
top.
best. Yeah, you're really in that I'm analyzing everyone mode. It feels like.
Yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
I got a hit with a 7. It's better than my last roll.
Okay.
Oh no, that's what you got.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, that was
I got
no,
a
that was
4.
Nay.
I got a 4. I'm rolling real great today. I went up 1 point from 3 to 4.
So, I'll give you a little bit, just the very obvious thing, which is it appears that this badger has led them on an expedition to the wilds, has failed, and has lost a little bit of trust. So they're still worried about his prowess as a big burly badger. But there is probably a little bit of they might be a little bit satisfied if he gets his ass kicked, although they're not expecting it. And as you both are, as the semicircle forms, obviously the rest of you, I'm guessing, aren't going to get involved and would do, kind of gather behind Nay in a kind of supporting bit of cheering. The Badger Briar.
I'm just gonna tell Junior. I'm gonna give Junior a little bit of direction. We're not gonna be just behind Nay to be supportive. We're gonna be a little bit to the side. And I just whisper to Junior, your job is to watch them. If they do anything, then it's on. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Be prepared. Be prepared.
Of course, sir.
And there's Briarmurk looks at you, Nay, as he shifts off the last of the bark and the protectives. Now he's just kind of got a jerkin tunic and nothing too protective anymore. And he says, "To the submission or to the death."
I have a whole party here to watch out for. My death will not be on their shoulders. Submission is my only taking in this.
Well, Let us see how it goes. And then the like, both of the badgers kind of hunch into a more like combat stance and like kind of start feeling each other out, circling a little bit, looking for weaknesses, and then you see Nay, you see Briarmurk like tense and get ready to like pounce at you, and we'll finish there for today. Because, you know,
The stress that I feel from this episode.
yeah.
Yikes!
Cliffhangers are fun, and it seemed
No,
appropriate.
but like, yeah, but it's like also the like that village.
Yeah, the
and
village of
then
the damned.
crows,
Yeah.
and I'm like, everybody is suspicious.
It's so funny how people translate information differently, because I'm sitting here the whole time like, oh yeah, they're gonna go into this they're going to go into this very like relaxed, chill place where people are like sheltered and etc. And like I immediately felt you guys with the vibe of like Lotus Eaters, like cult, and I was like, I did not realize it was giving off that vibe at all. But now
It totally was.
now I
It totally
100%
was.
I see it as it was going. I was like, yeah, no, I can see it. I can see that vibe.
It didn't start that way, but then it got that way. Then I was like, no, this is bad.
I really liked it because the timing of it was perfect, even though it was obviously unintentional initially, because that wasn't necessarily where you're going with it. But I had just, given a little bit of a gift to Gwenny, and then it immediately transitions into what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Right. So here's this nice little moment, and then wait, what the hell's going on? And it just kept on escalating.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. And hey, you got a companion. Oh, Nico.
We did.
Nico Tiana, who is
We saved somebody from the cult.
Yes. There you go.
Yes.
Saving from the cult. Saving from the cult.
Yeah. Oh. It was. I thought you guys were gonna go. I think it would have been a lot different if you guys went to meet the chief, because the chief is literally like a fat wildcat who just lazes around all
cult
the time.
leader?
They're not.
And is a cult leader.
They're not really a cult leader. They're just like. I thought the hint was the fact that it's a cat. Would be like, oh yeah, so it's very like lackadaisical, very kind of like, whatever, just laze around and do whatever you want.
Of the top 10 most dangerous animals in the animal kingdom, the largest percentage of them are cats.
Oh yeah.
Of some sort. And after that big fire in Australia, when all those animals were sort of weakened, feral cats just went out and murdered them, not to eat them, just because they wanted to. So it being a cat would not have helped. Also, I'm just saying, glad we got out of there.
If anyone's going to start a cult, it's either going to be a fox or a cat. So I 100% understand the vibes of that. But yeah, it's all and it did make me laugh because it's one of those things where when you're a player in a TTRPG, default state is like, what is my GM doing? Like, what are they planning? What are they all those kind of things. So yeah,
it's great too, because like from my perspective, I also thinking what they're thinking in those ideas, but I'm like, that's not what my character is actually going to be thinking.
Yeah.
Stay within my character. I'm like, so like in the back of my head, it's like all these extra thoughts. I'm like, no, it's Nay. He's gonna be like, there's food on the plate. Let's eat.
Let's clean it. Yeah. And I can say, to ease your mind as a player, like there are no adverse effect from the food, so you're gonna be perfectly fine.
I figured once
probably like
I
an
did the
aura
smell test. I figured the smell test was going to be enough, and then if you were trying to lean into it, you were probably going to try to like have somebody sense it from their perspective, if that was Junior or Nicotina, that we were going to find something out there. So I did feel comfortable at that point. But again, I appreciate the making sure.
There's no underhanded like, oh, later on this is going to be really bad for you.
I grow an extra arm.
All the more to punch you with.
Yes.
It. Oh no, it's on its own.
But yeah, no, the whole thing, because I doubt we're going to find ourselves back at the the cherry orchard. Like the whole thing of the cherry orchard was very much like it started as a respite, as a place to like rest for a few days, and just because of the cat, the new chief basically being like, bring me a basket of food, add it to the pile, you can stay for as long as you like the animals who started to gravitate there weren't adventurers looking for a rest, they were people desperate for a shelter to hide. And you know, it's that that vibe of like not wanting to have to struggle to survive, and you know, all the stuff in the outside. Which
Sure, right next to the bone orchard that causes lethargy. Sure, and some kind of weird bleed. You know, yeah, they're just resting. Cool, sure. We're not sleeping there. Just you can say all you want, but we're not sleeping there. Just so you know.
However, I do. For the first thing I want to say very quickly before we hit the outros and everything else, I want to express a very special thank you to the cast this week for putting up with the heat. I know it hasn't been fun. I've been feeling it myself. I do appreciate you putting up with that, because it's been a rough one.
We're making a hot story, so we're really in character, okay?
It's the temperature where we're at. If it's overgrown, it's got to be a little more humid and hot and stuff like that, right? I mean,
this fan on my desk has been I wish I could fan all of you.
I've got one right here, just like blowing at me.
I figured you were doing it every time you were in flight, so you were acting like your feathers were,
Look at me, I'm flying.
I was just like, it's 30 degrees here without the Humidex, and I'm hot and uncomfortable.
So we have 2 more episodes left. In the next one, we will obviously find out Nay's standoff and maybe a few other things. It does seem like you are ticking off some of those prophecies, so you're probably on the right track currently. Who knows what regaining your heart could possibly mean, but I think the kit that doesn't fit and the showered by Corby calls are things that we very clearly experienced today. Who knows? Maybe you've met a legacy in repose. Maybe one of the foxes was actually a legend, but possibly not. However, with that said, let's hit the outros. Then we'll hit the super chats, and then we'll head off to hopefully cooler days. Let's start with our pugilist extraordinaire with Nay, and also with General Andrews.
Why, thank you. I promise you I smile a little bit better than Nate does. All right, there we go. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Well, that's a little bit better, you know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Folks, if you want to catch the real Smile and myself, you can catch it on any form of social media, / General Andrews or @ General Andrews, depending which type of platform it is. I create a bunch of different content that is about communities that are sharing in shared experiences, and a lot of times that's through nostalgia. And our overall motto is teamwork makes the dream work, which these lovely casts right here, if I didn't have them, if I didn't have the DM Sheepy doing what he does best, which is keep us on our gosh darn hindquarters, that it wouldn't be as fun and enjoyable as it is. So thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you around.
Yeah.
Hot potato to Safi.
Hello, I'm Safi, and I played Junior. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at SafiPie. If you'd like to see me doing some more TTRPG stuff. Currently on another show for the second half of Eat the Reich module over on Lost Caravan RPG. Hot potato to Ellie.
That's me. Thank you very much, Savvy. Hi, I'm Ellie, or Elbel. You can find me at 3 Label, as the text-to-speech bots like to call me. Or Elbel on all platforms. I stream mainly on Twitch, and we're doing a streamathon this week, so I will be live every day, maybe this week, streaming many different things celebrating 6 years on Twitch. So you can catch me there at 5 p.m. Eastern, or when I'm done TTRPGing and I go straight there. I had an amazing time. I love this cast. I love this show. Like, I'm having so much fun, and the wholesome vibes are just making my heart so squishy. But yeah, so thank you so much to the cast and to everybody watching. Pass it on to our lovely, wonderful leader, Trooper.
Gwenny's the leader. I don't
feel like
know what that's about.
Gwenny feels like you're the leader.
Yeah, but I feel like Gwenny's the leader. I just feel like, I mean, and then actually sometimes Nate's the leader, but we're gonna get Junior the leader sooner or later. You know, when Junior gets there. Hey everybody. Oh, I'm just dropping songs in our green room Discord because that's what my job is in real life, that's what I do for a living. And so 3 LaBelle, I just put LaBelle's Lady Marmalade in our green room chat because I feel like it's necessary. I am Trooper SJP, and I gotta say, look, Village of the Damned, Lotus Eaters, you know, in The Wiz and also The Wizard of the in like you get caught by the poppies. I'm just telling you, that was some serious poppy field Wizard of Oz come and stay here forever sort of vibes. You can pretend like it was not a big deal, but I know there was creepy magic in the way, tried to trap us there forever, and that we passed our test in our great mythic fairy tale sort of moment.
Yeah.
Love the show so far. It's really great. I am really excited for. I just love everybody so much. Everybody's characterization is so wonderful, and I one of the things I just want to say, like my big love is, I love how I just saw us RPing as if our characters have known and worked with each other for so long, and it was so easy. And I just picked up like, oh, and that's that tap. That's exactly what Winnie does. Oh, and this thing here, that's exactly like there was just like a real sort of like, oh yeah, obviously they've been together. There's that. So rarely can you get that vibe, and I love just how easily that was done. Just there, so cool. And I really loved watching Junior trying to figure it out and like figure out like Junior's place in that. It's a good time. So thank you. It's an honor. And you can find me at lots of places. My Twitch channel is Trooper SJP. I'm currently on Sundays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm doing a 3-shot of Knights Black Agent Solo, which is a 1 GM, 1 player campaign. You should check it out. It's like a little 3-shot. We did the first one yesterday, and we'll have the next 2 coming up the next 2 weeks. And I'm running. I'm doing. I've already told you in the beginning. That's not fun. Hey, come and find me. You can hang out. I'm doing places in all the things, and that's me. And this is the great group. And support the Wandering Inn. There's a Patreon. I'm gonna hot potato it back to our GM, who's trying to pretend like he was not sending us up the bomb, that he was not giving us a trap, but he was. Food. Oh yeah, we've all read fairy tales. There's a nice cabin in the woods, and you could just go there and have like soup and candy, and then it turns out it's a witch who then eats us. You can't fool me. You can't fool me. Sheepy.
Come play with us, Danny. Forever.
Singing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. Hello, everyone. I'm the Wandering Inn, and yes, I am a Lotus Eater. It's true. I am the Wandering Inn. It's true. But having said that, we have some quick super chats to read out, which is first from the Blind Watchman. To that new middle person, who are you and what have you done with Sheepdog? I've already stated very, very clear that I am Sheepdog, and I don't know what else to say to you. Like, y'all crazy, because y'all think that I'm not Sheepdog. I very clearly am. Anyway, moving on, you know, question asked, question answered, so let's keep going. Sheepy, when merch? Merch very soon. I will say that I had an intention to release the merch with the start of Overgrown, and as can very often happen, I got distracted by all of the other things I had to do, and I haven't got round to actually finalizing things, but we're getting close. Next. Is this the... I think this is the 10th super chat by Blind Watchman. Massive appreciation. You are way too much of a supporter. We need to share the load somehow. But I'm gonna read this in a way that it's a bit more funny and a bit less weird. Junior, how does it feel that Dash wants to do the sideways tangle with your mom? Eh?
Just pass on that one.
No, just say it feels great. Just move on.
I'm
Like,
just waiting for the
question.
paternity
Weird.
test.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the paternity test. Dash, you are the father.
Finally, we have one from Damned Man. Damn, thank you as well for your prolific support of the channel. Gwenny, also Elbel. How does it affect you when a book you have read is wrong, and what/how do you react in those cases?
I feel like Gwenny is completely in denial if a book is wrong. Like, there's the defensive, well, the book said it was this way. Like that, like, actually, no, the book said, and so I feel like the denial until it's like really proved otherwise is very strong.
And then
Like-
it's just like, well, I have to go back and fix it. Like I've just
It's like, and then it's the panic of like, a book could never be wrong.
Yeah.
So now how do I fix it?
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I can see it in my head, like her denial of these
No,
things.
books are never wrong.
Books are never wrong.
Never wrong.
Now. Okay, so I think that's everything. Honestly, I'm sure I'm missing stuff because I always am. Brain cells are one of the things I miss on a regular occasion. However, we're gonna head off. So thank you everyone so much for watching. I have good news that we do have the outro from last week is here again. So if you want to check out the outro that Safi made, it is baller. Yeah, thanks for watching everyone. Hope to see you next week, and yeah, we'll see what happens then. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my head? Floating rivers upstream, the things that you said. Tell me and be honest, tell me, did you know that you would believe in me just like the winter's snow? Tell me and be honest, tell me, should I've known that you'd believe in me? So painfully quiet and slow, I try my best to move on.